Lakers 106-102. The Lakers win round 3, and the final this regular season will come tomorrow. Pregame 5:30 and tip-off at 6:30. See you on the flip side. We'll be back in a few. Clippers follow the Lakers by 4 in downtown on your Clippers Audio Network.
Clippers down 2-1 in this year's Battle of Los Angeles with 1 to go on Sunday as they fall to the Lakers at Crypto 106-102. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is your post-game show. Coming up, we'll have second half highlights, your post-game box score, and Clippers talk on AM 570 LA Sports. If you want to get on early, 866-987-2570 is the phone number. But first, we head back at Crypto.com Arena with your voice of the Clippers in Carlos Jimenez. A lot of missed cues by the Clippers with turnovers in the fourth, and a lot of missed shots that were wide open that went in and out late. Carlo, a heartbreaker for the Clippers as the Lakers got four.
That's a good show. And if there's not an example of game, I don't know what is. 51% from the quarter, 9, and that fourth quarter boy, they had some looks wide open for James Harden. 2 of them. A good look for Bogdanovich in the right wing. Kawhi was open on his right wing 3. The Clippers couldn't hit him. They couldn't hit him. I don't think that's where they lost the game. Obviously, the 18 turnovers to 25 Laker points sticks out more than anything in this one. But brutal. When you look at if you just watch the last 2 minutes, you're like, whoa.
It was right there. It was right there. The Clippers could not get over the hump. They fell down. Every time they got close, Luka made a run. He was brutal in this one.
Yeah, and the Lakers stars were better than the Clippers stars in this one, especially late down the stretch where Luka and LeBron combined for 16 of the Lakers' 23 points in the fourth quarter. They doubled the output of Kawhi and James with 8 points in that fourth quarter. Look, I'm trying to find positives. It's a tough loss. Austin Reeves only played 9 minutes. They didn't have Rui Hachimura. But if I'm looking for a silver lining, it's the fact that, well, as predicted, Kawhi Leonard did have his minutes restriction released, it looks like, as he got to almost 38 minutes in this ball game. And he was making things happen with a couple of plays late that if it turned the Clippers' way, if some of those shots fell, they might have had a miraculous victory. Just good to see Kawhi play extended run late in this ball game.
Yeah, it was good to see him get minutes. 37 minutes, 17 shots for him, 3 for 8 from 3 at him, and he looked comfortable out there. Was aggressive in the mid-range, got to his spots with ease. The Clippers really fed him in isolation basketball, trying to get him going time and time again. A definitely positive sign there. I thought Ivica Zubac had one of his best games this season, if not in his career, simply because of what he was asked to do defensively, Adam. I mean, almost every possession for the Lakers ended with Zoo one-on-one with somebody. And it worked. He did not get burned enough for Ty Lue to go away from it. Zoo goes 13 for 15, 16 rebounds, 6 offensive boards, and he finishes with a season-high 27 points. That was impressive for Ivica Zubac. Obviously, Chris Dunn's first half was really incredible, 14 points for him. The Clippers could not get it going outside of those two guys with any sort of flow or rhythm in this game. We thought it might be a playoff-style rotation. Ty played 3 of his 5 starters above 37.5 minutes tonight, and the bench didn't give him the lift that they did in Chicago. I mean, this is a bench group that put in 44 points against the Bulls. They finished with 14 today and go 1 for 12 from 3. So if you look at those numbers, an off-shooting game for the Clippers, an off-shooting game for your bench. James Harden is not going to go 1 for 10 again from 3 on Sunday. I can promise you that. He'll probably go to the gym tonight to get shots up. And the Clippers, according to Justin Russo, are getting Norman Powell as backup. I like that for this group coming into Sunday. Obviously, you'd love to sweep at him, but I think everyone in Clipper Nation will take one. I think there's equal disappointment because a lot of people thought tonight was the night with Reeves going out, with Hachimura not being available, with the Lakers being on the second night of a back-to-back. The Clippers learned that you cannot walk into a building against a team undermanned with little rest and expect to walk over them, especially a group that's now 17-4 in their last 21 games. The Lakers, the best record in the NBA in that stretch. Maybe a wake-up call for this group. Maybe an opportunity for them to focus in, to lock in, to get right on the defensive end. Great defensive effort from them today, 106 points against the Lakers. I thought that was excellent, but they did not get enough offense against a team that has been the number 1 defense the last 21 games.
Yeah, and their stars got outplayed by the Lakers stars. Bottom line in this one. I mean, you don't see a game, and maybe Russo will have a number on this as he usually does, where Kawhi Leonard misses 4 free throws and some critical ones in the fourth quarter. He might be there right with James Harden working post game, getting some shots up, making sure they're back in tune for Sunday night as they'll run it back at Crypto. Tip off for that one is at 6:30 against the Lakers. We'll have your pregame show back here at 5:30. Carlo, my guy, safe travels on the drive home. Great call as always. We'll do it again on Sunday.
Adam, best of luck, good sir. We'll do it again on Sunday. Let's go.
Good night and good luck. Second half highlights, your post-game box score, and Clippers talk, all to come as they fall by 4 to the Lakers, 106-102. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers lose 106 to 102 at Crypto to the Lakers in game one of this two-game mini-series. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is your Clippers post-game show. Coming up, we'll have Clippers Talk for you on AM 570 LA Sports. If you are in the chat right now, at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side and Angry, you could call in. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. 866-987-2570. Let's get to second half highlights. Clippers trailed 59 to 54 at the half. In the third quarter, just give it to Big Zoo and get out the way.
Clippers want to go full court pass to Zoo. Spins and floats and finishes with the right hand. James Harden with a touchdown dime on the go round. Done for Harden. Flops it underneath. Zubac catches. Pump fakes. Luka bites. Zubac turns and finishes with the right hand. Beats Zubac another bucket. Up to 14 on 7 for 8. Dribbles baseline, bounces it to Zubac into a shoebox. The floater off the window. What a find from Harden. And Zubac finishes with a pretty floater. 69 hole.
Ivica Zubac was 6 points in that third quarter, but the Clippers could not defend without fouling late in the period. And they were still down by 6 at 83 to 77 heading into the fourth. In the fourth, as what he did in this ball game was special, it was more from Big Zoo.
Leonard right wing, under 9 minutes to play. Zubac at the free throw line, rips through, muscles on the two-way. Jemison floats and puts it in. Ivica Zubac going to work on Trey Jemison. Zoo on the near block, just bullies through Hayes, spins through a double team, and finishes with the right hand. Ivica Zubac is an unstoppable force tonight. Harden attacks Luka, stops, leaves it for Zoo. What a find! Zubac with grab iron up top. Ivica Zubac the jam, 23 for the former Laker. Harden gets by Hayes. Another left-handed layup. A lot of contact at the rim. Zubac recycles it with the right hand. And the Clippers back within 4. Kawhi right wing 3 online. Off the rim. Rebound. Zoo bats it out to Harden in the paint. He lobs. Can't finish. Zubac another rebound. Turns and lays it up with the left hand for his season high. 27 for Ivica Zubac.
Had 11 of those 27 points in the fourth quarter. Ivica Zubac was a +9 in a game they lost by 4, and he played 38 minutes. So they got outscored by 13 in the 10 minutes he was off the floor. Ivica Zubac was great in this one, as was Chris Dunn. He was a +12. They got outscored by 16 in the 18 minutes he was off the floor. He finished with 14 points. Kawhi Leonard finished with 21 on 8 of 17 shooting. Did get to 38 minutes, as predicted. I thought the minutes restriction would come off this weekend. It did. Unfortunately, he was still just 8 of 17, 3 of 8 from 3. Just still didn't look very aggressive. Hasn't looked like last year's version of Kawhi yet. Does that change now that he gets the minutes restriction off? It's possible. If it's going to happen, it needs to start on Sunday, though. Clippers will run it back at Crypto against the Lakers. Tip-off at 6:30. Pre-game show starting back here at 5:30. While we have a moment, you know what? Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Some people in the chat saying plus this, plus that, still no win. Yes, it's no win, but it's nice to know that when Ivica Zubac was out there on the floor in his 38 minutes, the Clippers won him by 9. How do they figure out the other stuff and not get beat up in the minutes where he's off the floor? Because I told you he was my player to watch. I told you they had to be better when he was off the floor. They weren't good enough. Still, I can find positives in a loss like this. There are things the Clippers can do much better on Sunday. We'll talk about it. Final box score next here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers lose 106 to 102 to the Lakers in a game where the Clippers shot 45% from the field, but just 9 of 37 from three. Another game shooting under 30% from beyond the arc post All-Star break. I want to say they're 4-5 post All-Star break. They have lost 4 or 5, I should say. And in all 4 of those games, they shot under 30% from the outside. Lakers weren't much better. They were 11 of 33 from three. They were 40% from the field overall. The Clippers had 44 rebounds to the Lakers 39. But here's the problem. 18 turnovers, and they came in bunches at times in the fourth quarter, like we have seen this season, where they had twice back-to-back possessions of turnovers. Can't happen. Not in a close game like that down the stretch. Have to be sure with the basketball. I know one of them looked like it went off of Gabe Vincent's foot. Should have been a kicked ball, but still. Those 18 turnovers turned into 25 points for the Lakers. And the Clippers, 15 of 21 at the free throw line, with Kawhi missing 4 free throws. And that's just shocking. He was kicking himself at the line, missing them in the fourth quarter like that, where he gets fouled on a three-pointer, and he only converts 1 of those free throws there. He finished with 21 points, 8 of 17 shooting, did play 38 minutes. Minutes restriction looks to be off. James Harden, in his 39 minutes, 5 of 22, 1 of 10 from three, had multiple wide open looks late for a three-pointer. Ended with 18 points, 9 assists in this one. I want to be able to check the turnovers. I know he had at least 1 in that fourth quarter. James Harden had 6, 8 assists to 6 turnovers. Clippers lose 106 to 102 to the Lakers. Their stars were not good enough throughout the game, down the stretch. Luka and LeBron were better. They win by 4. They'll do it again on Sunday night. Tip off at 6:30, pregame at 5:30 outside of Los Angeles. We're leaving you until then, but up next here on AM 570 LA Sports, we got Clippers stock for you. Too many turnovers, too many missed shots from your stars, and the Clippers lose to Luka and LeBron 106-102 at Crypto.com Arena, where they will run it back on Sunday night. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm at a Mosland. The Lee Lakers, the Lou Lakers, the Lukers, whatever you want to call them, they're tough to handle. Even on a back-to-back for them. Even with the rest advantage for the Clippers, even with Austin Reeves just playing 9 minutes and no Rui Hachimura, the Clippers lost this game to the Lakers. That is disappointing. That is frustrating. Clippers without Norman Powell. Have to include all the context. But this was obviously a very winnable game still. And of the two coming into this series this weekend, looked like the game that they had to get. Oh, now it turns into Sunday night. They have to get that one. And they have to get much better performances from their stars. James Harden was 5 of 22, 1 of 10 from 3, 9 assists to 6 turnovers, just 18 points. And in the second half, went 1 for 13 with 5 points to 5 turnovers. 1 for 13 in the second half. If you would have told me that, I would have assumed the Clippers lost by 15 and didn't have opportunities late and wouldn't even be in a position where they could give away the basketball like they did in the fourth quarter, which also hurt them. Or wouldn't be in a position for Luka Doncic to hit back-breaking step-back three after back-breaking step-back three over Ivica Zubac, who was phenomenal. And Zoo should be getting Defensive Player of the Year recognition. Read Shane Young's article that came out earlier today about Ivica Zubac and just how good he's been defensively. I don't even think the Clippers lost the game because Ivica Zubac got left out on an island. I'll have to run the numbers afterwards in the matchup data, but other than those 2 threes by Luka, maybe 1 by LeBron, not many made shots stood out over Ivica Zubac when they took him out to the perimeter as the Clippers were soft switching, and Zoo was fantastic staying with his man. They won the Ivica Zubac minutes handily, but he can't play 48 of them. They go +9 in his 38 minutes and lose a game by 4. So they went -13 in the 10 minutes he was off the floor. How do you find a way to not get shellacked by the Lakers on Sunday without Ivica Zubac? Well, the second units have to be better. Kawhi has to be better leading them when he's in with Simmons, with Bogey, with Amir, with Batum. Kawhi also ended up +7 in his 38 minutes. So they lost the 10 without him. By what here? By 11. Kawhi did get to 38 minutes. As predicted, I said it after the last game against Chicago that I thought Kawhi Leonard would have his minutes extended this weekend. There's minutes restriction removed. It was. He still didn't look great. He still didn't look aggressive enough. He didn't look like he had enough pop. Some people are saying he looked like a role player out there. I wouldn't go that far. I was encouraged by him going at DFS at the end there for that layup just to make things interesting as the Clippers won a couple of challenges, got the ball back, but James Harden couldn't hit a shot. I mean, open 3, Clippers get the offensive rebound on the miss. Open 3, misses again. 1 for 13 in the second half. Is that sustainable? Do you predict that happening again on Sunday? I don't. Does that mean the Clippers are going to win if he has a better game? Not necessarily. LeBron James, he did a lot of his damage in the first half. I want to say he had 17 of his 28 there. And he had 10 of his 28 points in the second quarter. He could be better. He was on the second half of back-to-back. He still played 37 minutes. Luka had 31 on 9 of 22 shooting. Wasn't super efficient. He could still be better. He's Luka Doncic. And this was his first back-to-back as a Laker. But I am saying the Clippers stars overall, they got to be much better than combining here for 39 points. You go Kawhi and Luka at 59 to Kawhi, or excuse me, to LeBron and Luka at 59 points, Kawhi and James Harden at 39. Your stars, your two-man duo can't get outscored by 20 like that. And a lot of it was because James Harden couldn't hit anything. And then Kawhi's missing free throws. And then those turnovers, those awful turnovers late in fourth quarters like we've seen all season long. I'm not saying I can live with the Luka step back over Ivica Zubac in a Lakers jersey. That hurt my soul. I said on Twitter, can we petition who's ever in charge of these things, these memes, that instead of the thanks Obama meme for whenever something goes wrong, it's thanks Nico Harrison. Thanks, Nico. When those threes went in, when he had those step backs on Ivica Zubac, that's what I was saying. Just unbelievable. Quick timeout. We'll come back. 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Clippers lose 106-102 to the Lakers in game one of this weekend miniseries, as Luka and LeBron are much better than Kawhi and James Harden. Maybe Kawhi figures things out now that the minutes restriction is removed, but I didn't see many bright spots with him looking like last year's version tonight, unfortunately. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers lose 106-102 to the Lakers at Crypto in the first game of this two-game mini series this weekend. They'll run it back on Sunday night. couple big turning points to me included this in the third quarter. Kawhi Leonard hit a three-pointer that had the Clippers up 72-69. Luka gets an easy layup after that. And then there's a turnover on the inbounds pass from Harden looking for Kawhi. He had it taken away by Goodwin, who got another layup. So instead of being up 3, they go to being down by 4 within seconds. That was brutal. And then the turnovers going on in the fourth quarter, of course, especially the one by Amir in the backcourt. And then James Harden, it looked like it went off of Gabe Vincent's foot, but they didn't call a kickball. But they had multiple instances of back-to-back turnovers in the fourth quarter. That just can't happen. Ivica Zubac was phenomenal. He had 27 and 16. Chris Dunn was unbelievable. He had 14 points. Granted, all of them, I believe, came in the first half, but 9 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals. Like, he's one of the best perimeter defenders I've ever seen in my life. Not hyperbole. Eli and Whittier starting things off here on Clippers Talk with Adam Moslin after they lose to the Lakers by 4. What's up, Eli?
Hey, Adam. Thanks again for the opportunity for just letting us be able to talk in. But I just want to say, dang, you're right. Zubac was pretty freaking awesome. And credit to Dunn for, like, getting his offense up this game. Like, it definitely didn't make it as rough to watch. But, oh, boy, it was pretty disappointing with a lot of those turnovers, like you said. Made me want to tear some hair out at points. But I do want to ask you mainly, like, do you see any possible, like, concerns, especially with the playoffs? But one thing that was interesting, I noticed that the Wolves also lost to the Jazz recently. Is there possible ways that we could keep this 6th seed, or unfortunately, or could probably go to the play-in? Or even the Lakers might face us in the first round, especially since they're going up and up.
Yeah, it's all possible, but it starts with a victory on Sunday against the Lakers. Like, Minnesota has one of the easiest schedules left in the NBA. It's a bottom 5 schedule. The Clippers have basically a top 5 toughest strength of schedule left. So it's not going to be easy to stay in front of them. Plus, they have the tiebreaker over the Clippers. And now the Warriors are surging with Jimmy Butler. They've only lost 1 game. So that's another team you have to worry about that's right behind them. The Dallas Mavericks are still playing hard, even without AD. Eli, I'm sorry. It's going to be difficult. It starts with a victory on Sunday over the Lakers, though, is the best I got for you, my friend. But I appreciate you calling in, all right?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I leave a little hope.
I'm leaving a little bit. I'm leaving the door open. One of my favorites, Lenny in Inglewood. Lenny, what's up? You're on Clippers Talk.
Hey, man. I don't know, bro. I just, it was real important that we take both these games this weekend because as of right now, the Lakers are the hottest team in the league, and they're definitely ascending. And Kawhi does not look, he ain't doing Kawhi things. And unless he starts putting up numbers like LeBron is doing right now, and Powell comes back, and we got to win at least eight games in a row second half, I don't see how we're going to really be in a pole position come playoffs. And,
this entire season, the entire hope with this Clippers team is resting on Kawhi getting back to looking like Kawhi, Lenny. Like, if he can't look like an all-NBA player again, then yeah, they're cooked. I'm not giving up fully on that since he just had the minutes restriction lifted. But it didn't look great tonight. I need to see a better version of Kawhi Leonard on Sunday. It is concerning. I hate seeing a guy looking like he lost his basketball powers or just looking like a fringe all-star player when you need him to be a top 5 player.
Yeah. Dunn, like I said a couple of is fantastic. They should lock him in for as long as they can because he plays with the kind of heart that, we saw with the Clippers when they had Beverly and some other cats. He fits in. I'm sorry to hear what's happening with Norman Powell, but it seems like he's been having that knee issue for a minute. And, but yeah, it's, I guess we can try to, put our best foot forward, but the season isn't looking good. But listen, hopefully they can pull together a win out on Sunday, and we'll start from there. But you're doing a good job, Adam. All right.
Good to hear from you, Lenny. Hope to hear from you on Sunday with a different outcome. Kyle in Brooklyn. Oh, our favorite New Yorker. That's a Clippers fan. Kyle, what's up?
Recent New Yorker. I just moved here last year.
Okay.
So
there's another one too.
I'm now on this.
That's not so recent. He's got the accent. Sorry, I got it mixed up. But Kyle, we talked within the last week or two.
We talked a few times. Yeah. I've been going on a Ben Simmons kick since I've been calling in lately. But I mean, look, tonight we just missed everything. I mean, like, you're not going to have a game where Kawhi's going to miss free throws like that. And that flat shot at the end, that three he took, like, he's just not there yet. So, like, I just don't want to freak out because I knew what I was getting into with this season. I knew it. I knew what I was getting into. We need our luck to change. Now, our luck.
What were your expectations coming into the season, Kyle? Because I think a lot of people might be able to relate to this, or at least should.
My expectations, honestly, was the 6 or 7 seed.
Yeah,
and that's what my expectations were. And honestly, up until about a month ago, my expectations changed to a 4 or 3 seed.
See, that's where the disappointment is coming in. When the expectations got raised, with them being 4 games over 500 before Kawhi came back, and you thought, oh, we get Kawhi, he gets back to looking like Kawhi Leonard, we're going to hit the jet fuel, we're going to be 15 games over 500. That's what I think has people shook right now.
Well, that's the thing people need to keep in mind is, like, the only way this is going to work out if luck changes for us. And all of a sudden, we are seeing that 30-game string that we saw last season at the end of the season. Something like that could happen. But if it doesn't, then in the off season, we got to have, big conversations. That's just the way it is. I mean, Kawhi's my favorite player. I love him. But, I hope he turns it around, but he doesn't look great. He doesn't look like his legs are there. And, but they're missing shots, man. They're missing shots. James Harden shouldn't be missing those shots. Everyone's saying the same thing. Zoo was amazing. And I'm very happy to say that he's the only thing I bet on tonight. And I bet a nice little parlay on him, and woo, that was nice. But I would have rather had the win.
I got you, Kyle. Appreciate the phone call. Big Zoo was outstanding, continues to cook his former team in the Lakers, but it's not enough. He's not going to play 48 minutes. They won his minutes. We'll take a quick timeout. Clippers lose the game to the Lakers 106-102. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Will Updike of Clips and Dip fame. I'm Adam Moslin. You're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers lose to the Lakers 106 to 102. I'm Adam Osland. Welcome back in. It's Clippers Talk. Coming up, we'll get back to your guys' phone calls here. We got somebody on the super secret guest hotline from Clips and Dip. It's Will Updike. Will, how you feeling after this one?
Oh man, this one hurts. This one felt right there, and there was just kind of some errors in execution that I think is what I'm struggling with the most.
Tell me about those errors. Are you mentioning the miscues, the turnovers in the fourth quarter, like the stuff you can control?
In the fourth quarter, the turnovers in the fourth quarter. There were a lot of things that weren't ideal. James Harden, had another bunk game, which is his second in a row against the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard, pretty solid overall. The free throws were baffling to me. I had no idea what was going on there. But the turnovers to me, just back to back to back. There were a lot of things where this could have been a 50-50 game, and there definitely were some calls that were preferential to the Lakers, but there was a lot of execution errors that felt it just felt with how thin the margins were was sort of an insurmountable thing to sort of overcome.
How are you feeling about Kawhi Leonard right now? He did have his minutes limit removed, it looks like, but he still doesn't look the same as last year.
I mean, we talked about this coming into this game, and we were even talking about if Norm Powell was here. I picked Kawhi as my player of the game because I thought if any time that this was both a time for the governor to come off in terms of minutes and for him to, sort of reestablish what he has been and what we know, or hope he still can be. And solid game tonight. It was all right. It wasn't that sort of, top 5, top 3 player that we know he can be. So
but can he still be is the question, I think.
Yeah. This to me wasn't a step. It's still a step in the right direction in terms of the minutes are there. We talked a little bit about this, but there's bound to be an adjustment period while he does ramp back up. So it wasn't like super encouraging, but I guess, this to me isn't a step backwards in any way.
Is Sunday a must-win game for the Clippers in order to stay out of the plan?
We're tied with the Warriors right now, so we do still have the tiebreaker, but yes, let's get a win.
All right. I'm up against it, Will. Sorry to keep this short. It's unfortunate. Clippers lose tonight, 106 to 102. I appreciate you joining me here for a little bit, Will.
Thanks, Adam.
We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll close things out. Clippers fall by 4 to the Lakers. The panic is underway. I get it. It's frustrating. Lakers somehow have Luka Doncic handed to them on a silver platter, and you have to watch him in a Lakers jersey with step-back three-pointers over Ivica Zubac's late in the ball game like we've seen too many times before. Looking for some post-game quotes from Coach Lou as well. I'm Adam Moslin. It's Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers lose 106-102 to the Lakers at Crypto. Pain. Watching Luka in a Lakers jersey at all in any game is difficult for me. In a game against the Clippers where he has 31 and is hitting those patented step-back three-pointers over Ivica Zubac late in the ball game, it hurts. Now, the Clippers only gave up 106 points. I'm not going to say them not switching that, or excuse me, fighting through instead of soft switching like that, and leaving Ivica Zubac on an island is what killed them. And you guys got to understand how the plus minus works. Like, they won the minutes when Ivica Zubac was out there on the floor while the Lakers were doing all that, while they were pulling him out to the perimeter. Clippers still won those minutes. It's not what killed them. The minutes that did really hurt them, some of the second unit stuff where guys couldn't hit anything. Unfortunately, Amir Coffey, just 4 points. Bogey, 2 of 8, 6 points. Ben Simmons, 2 points. Those guys got destroyed. Clippers have to be better on Sunday. Tip time is at 6:30. We'll have your pregame show starting at 5:30. If you're watching on the YouTube side, or if you're hanging on the phone lines, hold on. We'll get to you with some Clippers talk after dark. This stream is not going anywhere. We just have to get off of AM 570 for now until Sunday night. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez on the call, Big Brother Jake Warner, our head engineer, Chris Taylor, our statistician, Daniel West, our producer. Until Sunday night with the pregame show starting at 5:30, I'm Adam Oslin. We'll talk to you then. Welcome back in. It's Clippers Talk After Dark. I'm Adam Osland. Maybe I'll see if Will Updike wants to come on or come back on. If any of those guys want to join me late here. After the Clippers lose to the Lakers, 106-102, I still have some phone calls here. The phone number, 866-987-2570. I mean, I can do this off the air still. If you guys want to call in, I'll be screening them like live. This is going to be dangerous, but if we're off the air, we're good, right, Dale? Yeah, we are off the air. Safe harbor hours are underway. This is going to be bad. I'm just going to start taking random calls here. Can you guys hear me okay still? In the chat? The next call that comes in, I'm just going to punch it up. We're going to see what happens. Wild card line. If you guys ever listen to George Norrie on Coast to Coast. Mystery caller, call in. Pull up then. What you got? Toby, I thought you were going to call in. You kept asking for the number. What do you got here? It's Clippers Talk After Dark. Anything goes. The next number I see, I'm punching it up. You will be on the air here. I've been saying my real opinion the entire time. For people in here who keep saying, like, Adam, are they still contenders? I have said the entire season they're only going to be contenders if Kawhi Leonard gets back to looking like Kawhi Leonard. So anybody trying to like fact check that, go for it. Said before the season, at best, they were going to be the 6th seed, and here we go. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Moslin. Who dis?
Hey, Adam. All right, am I on? This is Jonathan in from the chat.
All right, Jonathan. My guy Jonathan in here. Oh, Jonathan in San Diego. I should have known. Jonathan in San Diego. My magnanimous, benevolent moderator who I don't deserve, who is constantly keeping people in line. Jonathan, what's up?
Oh man, I'm gonna call Thomas out right now for his low level, like really ridiculous, like stuff. It's awful. If I could block the dude, I would.
I put him in timeout earlier because he kept saying nasty stuff about Coach Lou. Like constructive criticism, fine. But if you're just going to call names or say the other R word that somebody else said in here earlier, yeah, you're going to be put in timeout.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, so it was frustrating. So I was watching the game on delay, so I kind of got back up late. But I think what hurt us the most was primarily the second quarter, because Bogey got switched on LeBron like multiple possessions and got cooked.
Yeah,
I was frustrated at how
it was Bogey and Amir getting switched on to him, right?
Yeah. Well, I think if I recall, I think Amir probably got switched like maybe once or twice, but I'm like, what comes to mind more frequently was Bogey. Like, Bron was on the perimeter, taking him down into the post, and even like just shooting over. And it's just like Bogey tried, but like he can't guard LeBron. Like,
right.
And even Zoo got switched on LeBron like a few times too, and like Zoo got cooked. And my issue with Zoo getting switched.
I don't know how many times Zoo got cooked by Bron. I got to be honest about that, because I paid very close attention to every time, because here's what the Lakers were doing, guys. Like, they weren't just doing it with Luka like we've seen in the past. They have another guy they're trying to get Zoo switched onto on the perimeter and pull him away from the hoop, and that's with LeBron. And we've seen that, I guess, at times with him as a Laker against the Clippers and Ivica Zubac. But now it's two guys that are both constantly trying to put Ivica Zubac into the action. Jackson Hayes comes up, sets the screen. Instead of LeBron's man fighting through it, it's Ivica Zubac stepping up and not leaving LeBron or Luka open for a wide open switch. Instead of fighting through it, which would leave time for them to get a wide open three, they're just stepping up, and it's Ivica Zubac that gets caught.
And this is also another disturbing trend. So it's not just specifically to this game, but I think like maybe the last like few weeks or so. But like Zoo's been getting switched out onto probably their other team's best perimeter players, and if they take up a three, right, like Zoo's not in the paint able to get a rebound. So we've been getting killed on, like, I mean, looking at the final box score, we out rebounded the Lakers, but like more often than not, from what I've seen, it's just like, I'm curious to see how like second chance points from opposing teams when Zoo's pulled out of the paint like that.
Well, in the first half of this one, Jonathan, that was the problem. And that's why they're doing it. And it's really smart by JJ Redick. And I thought at some point the Clippers should probably just try to fight through those screens and keep Zubac in drop so he can be effective rebounding there. But second chance points in the first half, the Lakers had 11. They average, I think, 12 per game. Now, they ended up staying at 11. I don't think they had a second chance point in the second half. Or you know what? They ended up with 13. So they had one more bucket off an extra possession there. So the Clippers were much better. But yeah, it kept happening, especially in that second quarter. I was seeing the exact same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of where, like, because we were already falling behind, and like, when we're trying to come from behind, especially with Harden being old, like Kawhi's not looking like Kawhi, like how he should, like that takes a toll on your legs, and everybody's just trying to work harder to get there. By the time we caught up, like Luka and Bron were just straight up better than Harden and Kawhi. Like there's really nothing we can do, and their role players are better. And was it Reeves only played half the game?
He played 9 minutes. That's what's alarming. They don't have Rui. And one of those you can say, okay, well, the Clippers don't have Norm. You have to point that out. But Reeves only played 9 minutes. The Lakers are on a second back. We knew going in they wouldn't have Rui. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, so it's just this loss is inexcusable. Like I'm just like I'm at a loss for words. It's totally inexcusable that we lost.
Well, is it revealing though as who the Clippers are right now? If Kawhi isn't a superstar anymore, and I'm not saying that's definitive, but if he's not playing like it and he hasn't through 18 games yet, and his minutes restriction was lifted as predicted by yours truly, it would be this weekend, but he still didn't look great. 21 points on 8 of 17 shooting. Then you're going to get these results against good teams.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's a hard truth.
Nope, I wholeheartedly agree.
Also, James Harden, 1 of 13 in the second half, having 5 points to 5 turnovers is pretty extreme. That's not going to happen many nights.
I mean, I've seen a lot of Harden, even last game too, where I think he's at the top of the key. He does his tween, and then he tries to pass it off, but it gets picked off. He tries to throw it on the wing, and there's a defender within a few feet. He gets picked off, and it's just those lazy passes. You can't telegraph those passes. They're going to get a run out every single time.
He threw one, I think, in the fourth quarter, way in front of Ivica Zubac. It was a really bad pass on a roller. It's been happening all season in fourth quarters. If I'm going to look up the numbers again, but Harden only has 6 more assists than turnovers in fourth quarters this year. It is dangerously close to being 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in the fourth. But you know what? I don't hate on him too much for it because he's 35 and has the usage rating of a guy who's supposed to be 25. It's easily explained that way.
Yep. And was it our guy Dime Dropper says that this team needs to transition it to Kawhi. And
I've been saying
Kawhi
it too.
Not looking up the snuff. Yeah. Well, yeah. The Kawhi not looking up the snuff, and Harden's we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. We want to transition to Kawhi, but we can't because he's not there yet. So it's just what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And Harden can't keep going like this.
What are they going to do? They're going to lose games to good teams. That's what's going to happen until Kawhi kicks into being himself again. If that's possible, if he's not washed, I don't think he is. But he can't even be a fringe all-star. He has to be a top 5 player for this team to make real noise. That was the hope. That if they get Kawhi back to last year's version of him with this team, with a level of defense, with Chris Dunn, with DJ, with Batum back, they got a shot against anybody. But that's all predicated on Kawhi looking like an all-world player again, which he hasn't.
Yep.
All right. Jonathan, good to talk with you.
I'll go back to moderating in the chat. Peace.
My guy, I owe you. Maybe some of the super chats I'll start sending your way. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. We're no longer on AM 570, but we can keep going on the show. It's Clippers Lakers, so I will do this. How can I not? There's too many people in here. It's Clippers Talk After Dark. And I see a couple of numbers I don't recognize. I'm going to get to you guys. I threw you on hold. It's a one-man show now. No producers, just me, but we can keep going. But first, I want to get to people who called in and didn't get on AM 570 LA Sports. Jose and Downey. Jose, what's up? You're on Clippers Talk After Dark.
Adam, I thank you for this. It feels like a venting sesh Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Hey, I love Clipper Nation, even on nights like this, even with people screaming at me and calling me a company man and all these nasty things. I do not care. We're 140 days straight on Clippers talk when we're not stopping after a 4-point loss to the Lakers here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to. I'm pretty sure I'm not one to be like, oh my God, Kawhi, great, and all this. I mean, he was okay from the field. It was those free throws that were pretty concerning. I know he's not going to do that all the time. It was just, for me, it's a big game, not because it's the Lakers. It's a big game because it could help us stay ahead of those 7 and 8 spots. That's what was concerning to me. Yes, I'm hopeful like you are in terms of maybe he could turn it up a little bit. But it is concerning that the guy that we depend on the most, even though we're waiting for Kawhi, is Harden. And I appreciate that you said, hey, it's a 35-year-old guy who God knows how much the usage rate is so high. He's going to have tough fourth quarters, tough games in the second half of the season. We depend on him a lot. It does suck that we don't have Norm. That would help in terms of generating some points and maybe getting a little bit more free flow offense. But I think in my last 3 calls with you, I always complain about, hey man, they can't out rebound anybody. They out rebound the Lakers. And they shot more shots than the Lakers.
Yeah.
And we lost. That's what I think gets me.
Well, the Lakers hit 2 more 3-pointers than the Clippers, who took 4 more than them. And the Lakers hit 2 more free throws. So it's going to be on the margins in a game you lose by 4, right? All those little things add up. And those 18 turnovers leading to 25 points, where the Lakers had 15 turnovers leading to 22 points, which is a good number, but they got 3 more points than the Clippers did off of turnovers.
Right. And the other concerning thing, too, was I think between Jones Jr., Kawhi, Harden, Bogdan, and I think Coffee, I think they went 7 from 28 from the 3-point line. And it's just, it's starting to get an inconsistency. And the only thing I can think of is, are you tired? Are you really, really tired? And we're going to have trouble?
Let me throw this out there, Jose. What if the team that has been there the majority of the season, that has been going balls to the wall, I can say anything now, that has been going all out, that has been emptying the tank, thinking, we just have to wait till Kawhi comes back. We just have to bide our time. Kawhi comes back, and then he'll pick us up on the other end. But it's not happening like that. So they're still having to go out there and exert themselves at this high of a level because Kawhi isn't playing at a superstar level.
I agree, Adam. You might have a point there. I really do agree with you. I think those callers before that were saying the expectation and how they're so disappointed, I think that other caller that said 6 or 7, that was always my hope and my expectation. I think they can still be there, but that defensive push that they showed in the first half, it's going to have to be their calling card. And
look, the defense was pretty good. 106 points is nothing in today's NBA.
Yeah.
The worst team in the league averages 105 points about per game offensively.
Yeah, I agree. Because, I mean, I think there were teams, the Clippers were holding teams to 108. So 106, they still held them under, what they normally do. So you know what? On the offensive side, until Norman comes back, feed Zoo. He had 15 touches. I can see him get 20, 22, 25. If you're going to struggle from the 3-point line and because, those tired legs, and you're going to have to really exert yourself in the defensive side, you know what? Give the ball to Zoo then. Give the ball to Zoo. Try to find Simmons on the rolls. I do agree with you, Adam. I was saying it all game, and I've said it for quite a couple of years. Why do you give up those switches so easily? Why? Yep. Why? Help out Zoo. Help out a Zoo.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think that's why they lost the game, though, tonight. Would you agree with that? Giving up those switches? Yeah. Because they won his minutes. Minutes.
Yeah, and I was checking out the scores of some of the shots. You're right. Zoo only gave up, I think, 3-3-pointers when he was guarding Doncic and LeBron James. So I mean, he did his job. You know what?
And when they tried to take him off the dribble, he was tremendous staying with them too. I honestly, this was one of his finest moments, and unfortunately, it comes in a loss. Like, if you want to see why Ivica Zubac should be talked about as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, it's a game like this. He won his minutes. Like, he guarded them every which way. He was not some weak link out there. Like, the way they won, though, some of the minutes in the second quarter against him was through offensive rebounds because they pulled him away from the basket so far.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. You just made my nephew smile with saying Zoo should be a candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year. And honestly, like you've said before, and I think a lot of callers have said it, if he's playing that hard on the defensive side, give him more rewards on the offensive side. Give him more opportunities. At least, he's showing, I want to be out there every game. I want to be out there every minute as much as I can. So feed him.
Yeah. You know how I feel about it, Jose. I always want him getting the ball more. I always think good things happen. The problem may be that too much of his scoring comes off of putbacks instead of them intentionally dumping it down to him and letting him go to work. I mean, he had a right-hand hook shot over a double team with Jackson Hayes on him in the second half. That was just like, you can feature him more on the offensive end. It always frustrates me. 15 shots in 38 minutes. I don't hate it. But like James Harden goes 1 of 13 in the second half. Now, that is a guy you ride or die with. So I can see the logic of, he's got to take those shots. Like, he has to take those shots that he took for the most part, James Harden. I know you could say maybe disperse him a little bit differently, get Ivica Zubac 5 more shots, but those 2 threes he misses at the end, where Ivica Zubac gets the tip out, it goes to DJ, then back to Harden for a wide open one. Those are shots he makes all the time. He just had the game winner against Chicago on a much tougher shot than there was a double team on him on the right wing.
And they were designed to kick out from James Harden for threes. It's just, I'm going to be honest, we didn't hit. And that sucks because it was the inconsistency. I think the last game, if I'm right, I think we shoot like 50%, and then today we shot 26.
No, they shot 51% against Chicago. Yeah, from 3.
Okay. Yeah. So that's where it's just.
I mean, Amir Coffey had a wide open one. I remember after I think a Kawhi offensive rebound, he went 0 for 5. Bogey's 1 for 6, which is not going to be good for his percentage as a Clipper right now. After going 4 or 5 last time out, it's uncharacteristically. Now, they did get 5 makes, or they did get 4 makes on 4 of 7 shooting from DJ and Dunn, who I thought were spectacular. I thought they were both really good, especially Chris Dunn. And those 2 guys each hitting 2 threes, like, that's kind of the recipe for this team. They got what they needed from them offensively, and then some, with Dunn having 14 points. But if those 2 guys can knock down 2 threes per game, like, that's right there. It's the other guys, Amir Coffey shooting like that, and James Harden being so poor from the outside, and Bogey. Those are the 3 guys I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, Harden and Kawhi did do their job by trying to drive in and shoot from like the 15-footer, 16-footer. Some shots just didn't go in, and on the other side they ended up scoring. And that was, I felt like, a big difference. They did do what they were supposed to do: take the smaller guy, take the guy off the dribble, and they did create open shots for themselves. And that's where I think it kind of killed us today.
Yeah.
Those mid-rangers.
Jose, I appreciate the phone call, my guy. You want me to throw you back on hold, or are you going to be watching on the YouTube side?
No, put me back on hold. We're going to hear you. Man.
All right, Jose, I appreciate you.
All
Call
right.
back in on Sunday. I always like your analysis.
Will do, man.
See, it's cool now. I can chat with a caller for as long as I want. There's no restrictions. We're off AM 570, but we're still going here at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. All right. There's a couple people who have been screened here. Ryan and Santa Ana, hold on. Jose and Southgate hold on, but I want to go wild card line because two people called in, mystery callers. They have not been screened. So first I'm going to the 484 number. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on Clippers Talk. 484.
Yes, sir, Adam. This is Toby calling.
Oh,
Toby
God.
from the chat.
Oh,
How's it going,
God.
man?
It's Toby, guys. Isn't there a guy who's hated named Toby in the office? Wasn't there a guy named Toby in the office that everybody hates? I'm sorry, Toby, I don't hate you by any means, but you've been blowing up, talking about Kawhi, saying he's not the same for a while. Lay out your argument. He's now played
I need an
18
apology
games.
from you, man.
The apology is not
I need
coming
an
yet.
apology
The
from you,
apologies,
Adam.
first of all, my point was always, Toby, we have to see more. We have to see more evidence. He's got to get off a minute's restriction before we say a guy's lost a step. Isn't that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. But here's where I want to break it down to you. So you were having the conversation before, maybe a few shows ago, about structural damage versus no structural damage.
Yeah.
And I think from a medical perspective, you're looking at it too black and white because there's a ton of gray area in between there.
I agree with that.
Especially
Of
with a
course,
guy
there's
like
more
Kawhi.
gray area than
There's
that.
a ton of gray area.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. My point was, it would still be worse if you heard structural damage if he did his other meniscus. That was my point.
Absolutely. But that's, to me, that is totally out of the question because that's not what he's dealing with. So we just have to ignore that. You understand what I'm saying? So here's the thing with an athlete like Kawhi, of course, if there's structural damage, there's mechanical instability, right? So he's clearly not going to be able to play. But he has ACL reconstruction.
What's your background, Toby? What's your background? Do you have a medical background?
Yeah, actually, I'm a fourth-year medical student. So I have a little bit of experience.
You got me
learning.
beat. I just had a kinesiology bachelor's of science.
Learning and seeing patients over time, seeing people deal with chronic knee issues, especially when it comes to osteoarthritis.
Well, thanks for disclosing that. Continue.
With a person like Kawhi, and this is all just based off, the things that I've heard and the things that I've read.
Toby, could you be a little bit louder into your phone? I just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
My fault. So I'm going off based off some of the things that I've heard, that I've read. I don't know exactly what's going on with his knee.
Nobody does.
That I have to put out there for starters. But based on some of the symptoms and the swelling that he had last year, I think that we can surmise that he has a degenerative knee. He has a degenerative knee condition.
People have been speculating that for a decade now.
Right, which is essentially osteoarthritis. So when you have a condition like that, with him, he can still compete. Obviously, he can still compete. But competing at a top 5 level in the hardest league in the world, I think that's asking too much of him.
Even though he was just doing it last year, even though he was just
even though he was doing, I understand he was doing it last year, but he had a flare up.
So you're saying it could go that quickly? You believe?
It's not that it could go that. It's not. I don't see it as it going that quickly because he's still playing. He's still averaging. He could still average 20 points a game.
Right, but we were talking about somebody last season that set the all-time efficiency record. For 30 straight games, he shot 57, 51, 92 shooting splits. He was incredible.
But this is a different team. This is a different team, Adam. He's playing on a totally different team with different focal points. I mean, for as much as people want to shit on Paul George, he was still on the court with him last year. So that's another player on the court that the defense has to be accountable to.
Sure, but they're accountable for Norman Powell now too.
But Norman Powell and Paul George are two different types of players. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as two very different teams, two very different situations.
So you think it's more about a different situation than how Kawhi is movement-wise?
I think I think it's all of it. I think it's all of it.
So how much of a step
with
do
a
you
player
think
like
he has
this,
lost is my question, I guess, from last season to this
think
season?
he's-
Like what?
honestly, I think he's considerably slower. I think he's considerably slower. He doesn't separate the way he used to. And what I've been saying over and over and over again, Kawhi doesn't pressure the rim the way he used to. He doesn't put that pressure on the rim.
Well,
Granted,
he did
he's
have
never
the
been
most dunks in a season last year. His most dunks in a season came last year.
Okay, I don't know the statistics. I'm just going off what I see.
Sure.
Based on this season. I'm just going off based on what I see this season.
Okay, but how
He's
much
never been a high free
leeway
throw.
are you going to give to the ramp up process? Because this was game 18 and he just got off the minutes restriction, apparently playing 38 tonight. How much could that account for things?
I gotta say, Adam, to me, I think his injuries have caught up with him. I think
it's possible.
I think it's more than possible. I think it's probable. I think at this point of his career, they've caught up with him.
But Toby, let me present my case for leaving the door open that they haven't. Is it fair to say that we've seen Kawhi look bad to start a season coming off injuries and then hit the gas and click in? Because I'm telling you, this has happened before.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you that has happened before, but this is a guy that's another year older, continues to put more wear on tear on this knee. And you really have to look at low tolerance. You know, while a knee may be structurally intact, persistent swelling, cartilage wear, that can lead to pain and impact with activities, and that can really restrict an athlete's ability to train at high intensities.
I get it.
So these things compounded over time lead to things like this. I know that we want to believe that he can return to the guy that he used to be, but at some point, these things pile up.
And I've been saying that, Toby. I've been saying for a couple of years, there's going to come a time, because throughout Kawhi's career, hold on, Toby, throughout Kawhi's career, he's had major knee issues, but he's always come back and actually been better offensively and a better and more efficient player. There will be a time where he comes back and that is not the case. And that could be what is happening now. The other possibility,
is what is happening now.
It is certainly a possibility.
He's having to rely so much more on difficult jump shots. That is his bread and butter, but that is a tough way to survive in the league. That is a tough way to make an entire playoff run. Surviving off difficult turnarounds,
But
he doesn't even really step back anymore.
We've seen guys with mid-range game age gracefully also because that shot is very difficult to guard. His comps of MJ, Kobe, like he is that talented in the mid-range. What I've looked at with the numbers is he's hardly taking them right now. He's hardly even taking them. They had a play for him. Did you see that in the first half where out of a timeout, they got it to him at the free throw line. He was wide open and sunk it. Like the amount of times that they've actually run elbow actions, getting him to the 15 feet out for a good look, it hasn't been happening much at all, which is strange to me.
All I'm saying is that I think at this stage, he needs more diversity in his game. I don't think at this stage of his career he can just live off of those turnarounds. He needs to get closer to the basket. What I'm saying.
He's a good 3-point shooter.
Get much closer to the basket.
I would love that. I'm with you there. And he still is finishing at a high rate when he gets there. He's just not getting there as much, the numbers say. But can we come to a mutual understanding of this and come to an agreement here and find some common ground, Toby, that both things can be possible? You could totally be right. We could be looking at the end or a different version of Kawhi Leonard where he can no longer get to that top 5.
That's a more accurate statement.
Can I finish?
Different
Don't,
version.
Toby, do not
A
make
different
me turn
version
you
of
into the
Kawhi.
Toby of The Office. Let me get this out, and
Oh, you can't
and you can
turn
respond.
me into anything. I'm gonna be me.
I can turn you off, though, is the thing. Toby, can I make a statement and then you can respond?
Go ahead, Adam.
Two things could be very possible here. Your case, where you seem to be fully believing that this is it, Kawhi Leonard is no longer the same player, and we're not going to see the guy we saw last season for a sustained period of time. Or the other possibility that this was game 18, he just got off a minutes restriction, and we might see him start to hit the gas a little bit. Can we agree that they're both a possibility? Yours may be more likely. I wouldn't, we don't know that, but they're both possibilities still, right?
I think we can come to an agreement in that sense. I think
That's all I wanted,
Kawhi
Toby.
can still have. I think Kawhi can still have great games. I think we will still see games here and there where we'll be optimistic, but that sustained excellence that it's going to take to win consecutive playoff series, I don't know if that guy still exists anymore. And that's all that I'm trying to say.
But you would like it to, right?
Of course. Kawhi's been my favorite player for over a decade now. I've been watching the dude since San Diego State. So
I just wanted to give perspective of where you're coming from.
Yeah, I love the guy, but there are obvious realities that I can't discount, So it is what it is.
Toby, did we have a productive conversation? Are we good?
Oh, absolutely, man.
All right.
We adults here. All right.
Appreciate
Later,
you. There goes Toby in the chat. I'm sure he'll be back in there. I think that was good. We still got some more people to get to. Jose, Ryan, hold on. But there's some other number here on the mystery line that I want to get to. 616. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 616. You're on Clipper Stock with Adam Oslin. What's your name? Where are you calling from? The guy put the phone down? Was on hold for so long? Went to the microwave or something? All right, we'll go back to it. Ryan in Santa Ana. Ryan, what's up? You're on Clipper Stock.
Adam, I agree with Toby, man. I'm sorry. Game 18, gas is on the line.
Game 18 was also the first game where he's on off the minutes restriction.
Okay, Adam. But hey, man, I want Kawhi so bad to be our guy. He is not our guy anymore. I'm sorry. As a Clippers fan, I am a huge fan. I love him. I have a jersey of him. Trust me. But he is not our guy anymore. He's a 3-and-D guy. He is a guy who we have to focus on Norman Powell and maybe Zoo, for the rest of the season. He is not our guy anymore. I'm sorry. I love him so much. I really do. But he's not the guy. He's done. He's officially past his prime. We have to focus on other things in order to be successful in the playoffs. But we're not going to be that far into the playoffs. We have to focus on 2026. It is what it is.
Look, I hope you're wrong, but there's a possibility you're right. I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too. I really do.
That's what we all want. I'm not giving up hope yet, only because I think it's fair to say he just got off the minutes restriction. Let's see what happens now over the next 2 weeks.
Who was his biggest adversary? It's always been LeBron. He came up short.
You're saying if there was a game he would have got up for, it's a game against LeBron if he still had it?
Over Luka too. And we faced Luka in the playoffs, but who's the main guy? Who's the main guy? Like when he came to the Clippers, he had the crown. When he had the New Balance commercial, like it's always been LeBron.
Yeah.
That's
LeBron,
when
he's the guy that had LeBron go, damn, or shit, when he came back
Yes,
into the ball
yes,
game for the Spurs in the
yes.
2014 finals because he knew Kawhi would be on him.
Yup.
I know. And look, tonight was a big night. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt my argument. It does. But I'm still going to hold out hope until it's definitive. And we may not know for sure that Kawhi is no longer the same guy until we get into a playoff scenario, because he's always been able to raise his game there. If he couldn't do it in a
But we've
playoff
had,
game,
like,
I would
we've
say
had a few
it's
playoff
definitive.
scenarios already.
You think this is a playoff scenario with 23 games left?
No. But like, Adam, we've had like a few years of playoff scenarios. Yes, he's been hurt, but like that's when.
But
we're,
when
like, we
Kawhi's
have to
been
show that
healthy
he-
in a playoff scenario, he's always been able to perform. The first two games against Phoenix, he was able to perform at the highest level. He outplayed Booker and KD. Last season, he wasn't
And
healthy.
then what
He shouldn't
happened?
have even been playing. Is that fair?
Like we just have to come to a realization. Like it's been 5 years now, Adam. Like Kawhi is my guy. Trust me, I have his jersey. I'm a diehard Clippers fan. But like we have to come to a realization at some point.
That, like, if your argument is you don't believe Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy for an entire playoff run, I can't push back with a lot of evidence because we haven't had it since the bubble. I get that.
It's official. I don't trust him. I don't trust him in the playoffs.
All right.
We have to go to Norm. We have to go to Zoo. If that's the case, like it's just not happening with Kawhi anymore. He has to be our 3-and-D guy. He has to be like the guy who's our X factor now. It is what it is.
Well, look, but that would also mean the championship hope is over. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Because if Kawhi has
it
to
is.
be the number one on this team for them to play at a championship level, nobody else is going to be able to do what he could do at his best. And if his best isn't there anymore, if he can't get to that level, then you're saying it's over.
Hot take. Let's trade Kawhi for Kevin Durant. That's it.
Well, I appreciate the phone call, Ryan. It hurts my heart to hear all that stuff, but I understand why you'd feel that way. I'm not going to give up hope, though, yet on Kawhi getting back to an elite level. I'm not. Not till I see a little bit more. He just got off the minutes restriction. But I get it if you are. I'm just not going there. We got somebody in the 323 here on Clippers Talk with Adam Oslin. 323. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Adam? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but could you talk?
What's up?
There we go. There we go. I can hear you much better. Who's this?
Yeah, I was connected to my AirPod. My fault.
Who's this?
It's J Dog. I'm calling from the YouTube side.
J Dog, what's up? You're in here all the
What's
time.
up?
I appreciate you, man. You usually have
Yeah.
some nice things, some interesting things to say in there. What's up, J Dog? You are a dedicated listener.
Yeah. A lot of the time is a lot of the talk of it is like Kawhi right now. So I don't really want to talk about Kawhi because I'm not really worried about it yet. I'm gonna give it like at least 10 more games where he underperforms and doesn't look like the old Kawhi. Then maybe I'm gonna start getting a little concerned. But keep in mind, Coffee is a 40% free throw shooter this season.
Yeah,
he went
Coffee's been good.
over 4 today.
Yeah.
So that's rarely ever gonna happen too. And yeah, people are just overreacting, the usual. But I'm still not there yet. Like I said, 10 more games, Kawhi underwhelming. Then I'm gonna probably have to start talking about, like someone said, I don't know if you said or someone said on the call, probably next season, I don't know about Kawhi, running it back with Kawhi.
Look,
unfortunately.
I think it's fair to give 10 more games. I like that. I'm with that. If he doesn't get back to that level, we'll cross that bridge if we get there, and then we'll talk about what can be done. The last caller said trade him for KD. I don't want to move that far ahead or look that far ahead yet.
Yeah, no, people are overreacting. You know how it goes, but I just don't think we're at that point yet. We should be at that point yet because, he missed I want to say 60% of the season, maybe 55 around there. I'm just estimating. But
he's going to play less than 40 games.
No, yeah, for sure. That's because you talk about all the time about the back-to-backs. He's not going to play a few of those games. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they got 5 back-to-backs left with 23 games left. So that means what? At best, he plays 18 games.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, because I feel like 10 more games is a good marker, because like I said, and hopefully we're still in the playoffs by the time. Hopefully it doesn't really tank us, because I don't know, but we should be good.
All right. J-Dog, good to hear from you. I appreciate you.
Sir. Yes, sir.
J-Dog, I'm going to drop you now. Not because it was a bad phone call or something, just to open up the line. Is that cool?
That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. No, that's all I got to say. Just don't overreact to all the Clipper fans.
Hey, J-Dog's in the house. Woo, woo, woo. Thanks, J-Dog.
You already know.
Good phone call, man. J-Dog from the chat. People calling in from the chat. We're breaking grounds here on Clippers Talk After Dark. Never done this before, where I continue to take calls. Probably should have tried this before. We got somebody in the 616 here. Who dis? You're on Clippers Talk with Adam Moslin. 616.
Hey, peekaboo. I just put these boogers in my chain. What's going on, Adam? This is Clavon from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I'm a Anaheim 714 native. What's going on, Adam?
Clavon, were you in the chat and you called in?
Yeah, I called in earlier, man. I was all hype, and then when it clicked over to me, I was talking, but you couldn't hear me, so we had some technical difficulties, probably on my side.
Okay, and where are you calling from again?
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah, it's like the sister city to Detroit. I'm from Anaheim, but when I got out the military, my baby mama was from out here. The cost of living is good, so, we out here dealing with the cold, but it's not colder than that loss, man. Damn, I hate the Lakers. Come on, man. I love Kawhi, man. That's my dog. I think the minute restriction did help, and now he's hyped up. But he looked kind of stressed out to me, a lot thinner. But I could see that his shooting capabilities are increasing. I'm just looking at it like this: we are the second oldest team in the NBA behind the Phoenix Suns, and when I see Bogey play, I kind of wonder, man, we should have kept Terrence Mann,
Yeah, but they did get 3 second-round picks for Bogey, and they're going to have his contract off the books before Terrence Mann's would be, which means they'll have more money to spend in 2026. And Bogey should not be this bad. It's frustrating.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, man.
I was waiting for him to catch a heater.
And I try to give somebody right. Like I sit back and I try to give, I understand how it is coming from another team. How old is Bogey? I think he's like 34.
No, he's 32. He's coming off last season, right? Last year was one of the best years of his career. He should not be washed at 32. He did not have some major injury. I think he's just missing.
And I'm hoping that he finds himself soon, because I remember when we played Atlanta, man, he was a damn assassin, man. I used to be like, damn, who the hell is this dude?
He did it with the Kings. He cooked the Lakers with the Kings.
Yes, he did, man. And that's what we need to see. I think it's even with Kawhi, even as he starts easing into it, I can understand what the other caller was saying so far as, what is it? He said something in the forms of it being some kind of degenerative disease. I was in the military, and I have two discs in my back. I have the degenerative disease in them, so I understand that shit never goes away. But the Kawhi, I'm pretty sure they probably have him doing yoga, because yoga, doing that really changed my life. But I feel like at this point, all right, you remember when they played the Boston Celtics, right? And none of the stars were playing. They had nothing but the young guys out there. Even Jordan. They had everybody out there playing, and they almost beat the Boston Celtics. And I was like, I understand how the Clippers franchise is about playing younger players, right? But I'm like, we had something there, because they were playing with enthusiasm. Look at the top tier teams, and they all have young talent on their team. And I feel like the Clippers don't take enough time out to develop their young talent. I feel like it's great that they're giving a lot of
They've been
veterans.
championship hunting, right? They've been going for it. So how do you play your young guys while you're trying to go for it? If you play young guys, you're not going to win many games.
I mean, but then look at when you look at teams like Sacramento and how they built up Castle and these different players. When they get that chance, and I'm not saying they haven't given us that chance, but the Clippers are notorious for not like we traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think that was in the Paul George trade. And I'm like, people are like, oh, he was playing like trash. They don't give him enough time to develop. And it's like we traded away something great. And I feel like
hey, people at the time were like, damn, he might end up being an all-star someday. Nobody said when they traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, though, he was going to end up being the MVP, which is about to happen.
But that's to my point exactly, because it's like you have something good there. Like I like Brandon Miller, right? Jordan Miller, right? And I can see the potential, but if you don't have the confidence in your game, it's because you're not getting enough NBA play time. You develop that confidence, and right when I started seeing that younger squad build that confidence, they broke them up. And I was like, that wasn't enough. We had all of our starters sitting on a bench, our star players, and we almost beat the Boston Celtics because those young men were playing like they wanted to be out there. And I'm like, man, give them another chance. Nope, Steve Ballmer. He has his old tail sitting on the sidelines, making sure Ty Lue can't play. Because Ty Lue, he's known for doing playing. I love Ty Lue because he'll give you a snowball's chance in hell. But I know Steve Ballmer is against a lot of the youthful players getting there playing.
I don't think Steve Ballmer makes any lineup or rotation demands. I don't think he is involved in that at all. He delegates. He's very hands-off. He puts the basketball people in charge. But I'll say this again. They may be okay for a game or a quarter or a couple of minutes here and there. But we have a long history in the NBA of when you try to play a lot of young guys, if you try to have that youth movement, it's probably not going to end well. It's very likely that you're going through a lot of growing pains. And meanwhile, the Clippers were in win now mode, Clavion, over the last 5+ years. So how do you integrate those guys when you're trying to go for it? It's just difficult.
I would say like in a back-to-back game, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're coming off a back-to-back game, and we have these veteran players, like they were saying, even with James Harden. You're putting a lot on him at 35, correct? So my mind state would be one out of those two games, and this is something I think that, it's not going to remedy right now because we're in crunch time. But at the beginning of the season, if they gave those players a little more of that seasoning, and time periods like this now when we're playing crucial back-to-backs after we saw that game with Boston Celtics, I'm saying that would give them a time to let their star. Because Norman Powell, he was shooting lights out. He was playing so hard. I saw it coming. I was like, man, the workload on him is heavy. He's coming out there producing so much, but at that 34-year-old age, I knew it was going to catch up with him. I saw it. And I'm like, damn, man. So, because if we have Powell out there right now, I have no doubt in mind that we would have won that game. But, we have so much going on these older players. I would love to see more youth be able to give them more of a break. You know what I'm saying?
It would be nice. They tried Jordan Miller earlier in the season, and he had a good first stint, and then it seemed like he lost his confidence. It's not like they didn't try at all. Kobe Brown's gotten opportunities. He has not looked good. He has not put together a lot of good tape out there consistently. I thought Jordan Miller was going to be the guy. He had a good start, but then after that, it kind of was law of diminishing returns where he just wasn't as good. But Clavion, can you say one more time how you feel about the Lakers.
Clavon,
excuse me. Clavon.
Oh, I can't, man. I hate the Lakers. God damn. Oh, can't stand them.
You remind me of
Damn.
the video of the guy who's hitting his hands up against the doorway. He's like, God damn it.
Man,
Over and over
I know,
again.
man.
It looked like his team lost or something like that. And he's just swearing up a storm. And then he walks into the kitchen. That's what it sounded like a little bit to me. But I think people in the chat were laughing pretty hard the way you said that.
Man, I'm a Clippers fan. Man, I've been a Clippers fan since I was like 8 years old. And I'm surrounded by a family that's like Kobe era, Shaq era, LA fans and shit. And I'm like, man, I'm always going for the underdog and shit. And I always love the Clippers. And to see, we always have the same thing plague us every year. We always end up as one of the oldest NBA teams. And look at what they did with LeBron. They put youthful talent all around him, and they took the load off of him so he can be more relaxed and not be so stressed and make those correct plays. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much
maybe if Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks had called the Clippers and been like, hey, I'd like to make a trade and give you guys Luka Doncic, it would have worked out for them too. I mean,
man,
that landed in their lap.
Bullshit, man.
Clavon, that landed in their lap. Like, they got lucky.
Like, no, man, I wish it was some damn luck. Yeah, look, man. If you have a 4-leaf clover shaped up a leprechaun's ass, and that would have been enough luck. Let me tell you something. Somebody owed somebody money behind the scenes. They were bet. Somebody made a back deal bet to try to get that whole fucking slate cleaned out or something. Because it was something fishy about that whole situation, man. You know, I don't care what nobody say. You don't just get that type of deal. You know what I mean? Lakers always been like that in history. I can't stand them, man. They always get that. Them and the Boston Celtics, they like the jocks and shit. When the freshmen come in, they get the first choice and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's them. You know what I'm saying? That's them in LA, and we tired of it, man. Woo! Let's go. This is Clippers time, man. I can see Kawhi coming back, dog, and I pray for that, man. Norman Powell and him and Harden. All right? Hey, get some of that youthful energy every now and then. We ain't got to play long, but let them come out there and get some rebounds, chase down, go for the block, go for the extra offensive rebound. That's what that young blood do, man. And when we took that out all the way, now you got people, you got a lot of veteran players that's playing with heart, because I love Batum. I ain't going to say nothing about Batum because he's going to come out there when he's hitting. Yo, man, our favorite Frenchman is out there doing it. But my whole point is, man, we need to give them some time to relax just a little bit so their stress levels aren't, man, Kawhi out there looking thin and shit. My man's looking mad hungry, son. He out there looking like, man, he's stressed out. You know what I'm saying? His house almost got burnt down and shit. He out there, my man's looking stressed out. You know what I'm saying? He needs to, and James Harden can only do so much, man. That's my dog. You know what I'm saying? But he can only do so much. And Powell, look, we need somebody to be able to pass the torch to Coffee. Hey, man, and when y'all talk about Coffee now, y'all say it's time for the percolator. Because when he going hot, yeah, it's time for the percolator when he going hot. But, he didn't have that great of a game. But I will say Chris Dunn, son, yo, you done. Chris Dunn was out there like, yeah, he was getting them steals, man. Keep going, Chris Dunn. Keep shooting it. Hey, he was even dropping them rocks. I was like, man, he was looking like a two-way player damn near tonight, man. And I was happy to see that, man. I was beautiful, But we just need consistency. That's all we need is some consistency going, man. Keep the players' spirits high and take some of this strain off of the veteran players so they can breathe a little bit and they can come in with refreshed legs and a heightened spirit, you know what I'm saying? And knowing that they can sit back and get a breather while they can put somebody out there that can develop their own shot, man. That's the problem. You was right. When they have Bogdanovich and Coffee and them out there, you know what I'm saying, in that second lineup, nobody had the ability to develop a shot. But when we have Bones Highland, everybody can talk as much shit as they want to about Bones Highland. He can come out there and get it popping. Okay, his defense wasn't great, but he'll come out there and he'll take that initiative. It's like we got great players that are afraid to take that initiative sometime. And I'm like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Fuck it. Just I'd have told Ben Simmons, look, I don't give a shit what happened. Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
Go ahead, man. If it missed, man, fuck it. I'll let Steve Ballmer know myself it's my fault. Go ahead, man. Let him know. You too big in there not to be doing that, man. You know what I'm saying? I can see it in Ben, too. We need a boost in confidence, man. And sometimes when you let younger players, let Beauchamp, hey, man, his first shot when he came on the floor was a 3. Let me see a little bit more of Beauchamp, just a little bit, man. Giving them some time to come out here and make a name, not necessarily just make a name for themselves. Look, this is a big city rivalry, man. I'm from Cali, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big city rivalry. And it put somebody out there, this is on the stage. Can you perform on this stage? Give them a chance, man. You know, let's do that. Give the older players something to build up their morale, so when they see that, they could be like, you know what? Okay, hey, that motherfucker playing like I used to, man. Oh shit, man. Okay, that'll build their spirit up a little bit. But right now, coming off of that 3-game losing streak and barely beating the Bulls, I can see it, man. I see it, and they like, man, their morale is all down and shit, and then it spikes up for a minute. Man, that's what happens when you take some of that youthful energy away from the team. Yo, that changes the whole flow of everything. You got to have a balance of veterans and young players. You have to have a balance, because when you have too much of either one, it's going to cause chaos. And I feel like they had that balance, and now they have to work with what they have. But at 32, 34, look, I just hit 40 on the 25th, and bam, my damn knee started fucking blowing up and shit. It's all swollen right now. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. When you hit certain stages in life, you have to change gears a little bit. You might not be able to press the lane as much. You might have to stop, take your time, and like Kawhi said, or like Kawhi's doing, he's developing that 3-point shot, and it's beautiful because his mid-range is looking bad right now, and I understand it. But, you know, hey, keep pressing that 3-point, get in the inside under the hoop in the red zone, and get the easy tools because he still got the strength for it. Hey, man, just build up your confidence and work on I tell them, even though you still missing those mid-range, you was correct on that too. Put up some more, man. Fuck it. Put up some more, man. Put up at least 5 more mid-ranges, man. Get the feel. Get the confidence back. Let it flow. What did Bruce Lee say? Be like water. You know what I'm saying? Get it back. That's all they have to do. They're having a big confidence issue. Everybody has that talent there. Visa Zubac putting up a monster game. You're right, and it gets overlooked because we lost. Like, man, look, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. That's all they have to do, and build up that confidence, man. And then be frequent with it. Don't have it one game and then the next 2 you don't. Be consistent with it, you know. But at the same time, let those veterans rest. Put in a little bit of youthful talent and see how they play together. Like if they put in Beauchamp, they put in let's say they put in Ben Simmons, and they put in Chris Dunn, and then they put in Amir Coffey, right? And somebody big, okay? I think that, you know, when I saw a lot of the youth playing amongst each other, they kind of felt like they were on the same wavelength. So they were like, hey, you know, you kind of feel like, hey, you out here like me struggling. Let's show them that we can play, man. This is our time to shine, you know. And they played off of each other's energy, and that's what made the difference. But now that we don't have that, it's kind of like a morale thing right now, where everybody's looking, oh shit, my knee's swollen, I'm tired, I'm busted up and shit, because we're older. I'm telling you. How old are you, Adam?
Oh, I just got a lot older listening to this phone call. Clavon, you're cooking. No, continue. How do you spell Clavon, by the way? Because you just went legend here on Clippers Talk. Clavon? Clavon! Clavon! Where'd he go? No! Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I'll try one more time. Clavon? That was, I guess he, he talked himself out. Wait a second. Clippers talk. This Clavon?
Yeah, this Claybon.
Let's go!
Adam Bomb. Adam Bomb. Boosh. Hey, man, I apologize for that, man. It's Clavon. It's Clevon. You know, I appreciate that. I don't.
What,
yo,
did your
you-
minutes?
hey, you-
Did your minutes just run out? What just happened?
No. Man, right now we having a little storm.
Oh, okay. I was like, put another quarter into the damn phone booth. We can't lose Clavon. Everybody's calling you the best caller ever.
Hey, man, I appreciate you and I appreciate y'all, man. It's all about that Clipper love, baby. Woo!
Clavon, what's your name in the chat typically here on Clippers Talk?
Plain man number 2.
Play in man or plain man?
Plain man number 2. It's like a emoji of like this. It looked like a dude with an afro.
Okay. I think people are going to be worshiping you after this phone call when they see you in the chat. This was an all-timer. This is the reason I did this show tonight. You were the reason all along. This was destined. This is the reason the
man. Don't let nobody tell you different, man.
This is the reason the Clippers lost tonight. So we could have this phone call from Clavon.
Hey, this is how lit the call is when we lost. How you think it's gonna be when we win, baby? Yeah.
Clavon, I need you Sunday. If they win Sunday, I swear to God, we have to have you on again. You must be on.
Hey, win, lose, or draw, Adam, man, I'm gonna be back. I always watch your show, man. And you do a great job. You do a great fucking job. Keep that up, man. This is what we need, man. All right, they need to have you out there on the floor announcing, man, so we can go ahead and give them that real energy, man, because they need it right now. Them old men need this useful energy we got for them, man.
Oh, they need some of whatever you got. I don't know, that 5-hour energy. Like, you need a sponsor, Clavon. Monster, brought to you by Monster Energy Drink. Clavon on Clippers Talk. You deserve it.
Hey, man. Hey, it's like Red Bull, baby. It give you wings. You know what I'm saying? We give you wings, you know?
Hey, you didn't fly too close to the sun. You were just right.
Oh. Hey, man, shit. We fly too close to the sun over here. We mess around. We get a suntan. That's all it is, baby. Shit. Ain't no wings melting like Icarus. You know what I'm saying? We fly close to the sun. Matter of fact, we're going to fly real close and we're going to finally smash on the Suns when we get a chance, too. What is it? We play the Suns after the Lakers?
Yes, sir. On Tuesday.
Yeah, we're going to finally smash on them.
Clavon, I need you to call in. Promise me you're going to call in next show. Promise me, win, lose, or draw.
What time, Adam? Right after the game?
Yeah, give me about 45 minutes after the game.
Man, I'm going to be back, Adam. I'm going to be back every time. Win, lose, draw. I'm going to be back, man. I love your show, brother.
You're the energy we need.
I love the chat room.
You completely turned this around for everyone tonight. Clavon, a blessing, a godsend. Clavon,
hey, man, I appreciate that.
On a night where the Clippers lost to the Lakers, I've never seen people end up more positive. People are saying it's the highlight of the
round
season.
2, you know, round 2. What a dude get up? Hey, he'd be like, "Hey, man, run that back, dog." He start taking his shirt off and shit. Like, "Hey, man, run that back, dog. Hold up, run it back."
All right,
let's go.
We're running it back on Sunday. Clavon is booked post-game. He's calling in once again, guys. We're going to be good. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to be okay in the end because Clavon is calling in, and he's going to rally the troops if they do lose to the Lakers on Sunday. Clavon, that's a promise, right?
Woo! That's a promise, Adam. Let's go get them, Clip Nation. Let's get them. Woo!
Bet. That's a pretty damn good send-off right there. We're going to keep this going, guys. It's one of those nights. I don't know how many opportunities we're going to have to do stuff like this. I'm not saying we're going all night. Clavon does have us all re-energized. But we got a guest coming on in just a little bit here. Another special guest. I've been saying pull up. So BJ Matthews from the Pull Up Podcast is about to join us here. I'm texting him now. Let's go. This is this is something completely unexpected. Clavon must have gone for 5 minutes straight. I was kicking my feet up. I was listening to all of that. He was a Busy Bones fan. This is how you bounce back after a loss to the Lakers. This is the way to do it. This is the only way to do it. I'm feeling like, man, if I get out in time, maybe I'll order a pizza from somewhere. I'm celebrating now. Like, what just happened? How did this night turn around? Clavon saved us. This is incredible. I've never been more inspired. But this guy's also pretty inspiring. The host of the Pull Up Podcast is here. BJ Matthews said I wanted it in tonight. BJ, what's good?
What's good, Adam? What's good,
Maybe a
man?
technology issue here. BJ, give me a second. You might be able to hear me and I can't hear you.
Wait, can you hear me now?
The case. I'll unplug. I won't sound as sweet. Nobody cares about that. You want to hear from BJ. Hold on. BJ, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I got you, man. I can't see you, but we got you. It works. How you been?
Adam, that was probably the most stressful Clipper game I've seen this season.
Why? For what reason? Lakers?
Yeah, well,
are you like
more so
Clavon?
us.
I hate the Lakers. I hate the damn Lakers. Are you like Clavon?
Yo, it was. This is the thing, man. A lot of things are just prevalent that I was seeing. Number one, we have the same issue over and over. We're not closing these games out. It's through rotations, it's through shot making, it's through execution towards the end of the game. A lot of these factors keep pulling up. Now, tonight, there's two things that I saw that were eye glaring. Of course, Kawhi. I know you were talking about Kawhi, and everybody's getting on him. Listen, Kawhi's fine.
Is he?
There was a stretch. No, there was a stretch. I don't know if you remember. There was a stretch, like a 6-7 game stretch, when he came back earlier in the season, where we went on that run, where we were actually playing more through him.
They went 6-1 the first 7 games with him back, but he was only playing 20 to 24 minutes those games.
But he was touching the ball. There was games he was scoring 21 points. I think he had 27 against San Antonio. He had a good game against Milwaukee. He was more included in the offense and the defense. Right now that I'm seeing us lose these games, he's looking out of place. He's looking out of sync. He's not touching the ball how he's supposed to be touching the basketball. They got him standing in the corner. It's a different feel that he's really feeling in the game. Now, there was an interview I remember hearing where he said,
post-game, right?
Post-game interview about a few weeks back. I remember there was an interview.
Yep.
He was in the locker room, and they asked him about him stepping on somebody's toes. And then he responded with the whole, well, it's not like we're the first seed or something. So that gave me the intention that he was annoyed with something. The way he responded.
I remember that, BJ. I remember exactly that interview because before that part, he said something to the degree of, I don't know where I fit in right now either. Like he was questioning his role. And I don't think it was that dire, but it was something to that effect. Like he was a little bit, uncertain.
Uncertain, and he was annoyed. I remember because Kawhi's my favorite player too. Like he's been my favorite player since San Diego State. Like I've been watching his body language. I watch how he, he's one of those people that you're not gonna. If he says something, it means he's been holding in for quite some time. So the way that they were playing on that streak, they're winning games, and he was more included into the offense and the defense. But after that game in Charlotte, where Ty Lue was talking about the ISO ball, and they were talking about, more so not enough ball movement, not letting Zubac touch the ball like he needed to touch the ball. That's when we started losing games. Now, I said, and I've been saying this all season, Kawhi and James Harden don't fit. They don't fit.
They sure fit last year.
Well, that's because Harden was the third option. Kawhi and Paul George fit, and Harden was the guy that was orchestrating the offense. When you see James Harden towards the stretch of these games, even tonight, 3 straight turnovers the same exact way. He's trying to score, going through double teams, trying to split the defense down the stretch of these games. He's turning the ball over. He's playing 39, 40 minutes. There's no need for him to be playing that many minutes in a game. That is entirely too much. They say that they want him to, exert less energy, his usage rate. Why do you have him playing 39, 40 minutes? There is no reason for that. Tonight, when he was on the bench,
because they don't have a great option. Because all season long they don't have a great option to run the show outside of him.
Well, I've seen Ben Simmons running the team, and ever since he's been here, there's been games he's had 6 assists and no turnovers. 6 assists, 1 turnover. He's getting 20 to 25 minutes a game. He doesn't seem to get riled by pressure. He doesn't seem to get riled when somebody's pressuring him up on defense. You're not really stealing the ball from Ben Simmons. So he plays more with pace. He actually gets guys the ball in their positions, in their spots. He plays defense.
But he can't shoot and probably shoot. And there's a lot of lineups that aren't going to work with him.
I mean, the shooting aspect, yes, but he can score. There's other ways to put the back.
He can't. Not like he can get 10 points, but that's not somebody that can score. Come on.
But we need Kawhi to score. This is what I need James Harden to do, is to protect the basketball, which he hasn't been doing all season. He's been inefficient, and it's not even that you turn the ball over. Adam, he turned the ball over. He doesn't even get back on defense. That's momentum changer, that you don't even get back on defense, and you go to the bench and you act like nothing happened.
I know, I've been knowing that you're not the biggest fan of James Harden's style of play. But the problem is, BJ, without him, their offense has been so much worse.
Adam, our offense is 22nd in the league.
So if we're going to say that's every minute of every lineup in the game. If you go off of on-off when actually he's on the floor, they have an offensive rating of 112, and without him on the floor, it's 107.
But I'm saying, okay, look at the defensive rating. The defensive rating, we're top 5 all season.
Okay.
Kawhi comes back. We move to the Kawhi comes back. We're the second rated team in the league.
I'll tell you what the on-off numbers with him in defensive rating. So on the court, they're 109. They're still good. Off the court, they're 107. So overall, he's still a total net positive. He's much better for you on offense than how he's hurting you on defense.
You talking about Harden?
Yes.
Defensively, okay, what does the eye test tell you when you're watching the games? He's getting hit on defense. He's actually more so. They play James Harden defensively similar to how they play LeBron James defensively. They put him next to the rim so he doesn't have to be forced to guard anybody. He's not exerting any energy on defense. He rotates in certain parts of the game, and he doesn't get back when he turns the ball over.
But BJ, none of his defensive deficiencies outweigh how much he helps on the offensive end. He is a net positive overall. They have to play him.
Is it James? So the system that James Harden runs offensively, he controls the offense. The ball sticks to him. He determines who gets the basketball. Zubac and James Harden, the only way I see him really even giving the ball to Zubac is on that pick and roll. Teams have adjusted to that style of play as the season has gone on. You can't tell me that he's been a good offensive piece when he's averaging over 4 turnovers a game, having months where he's averaging 6 turnovers a game. And there's some of these turnovers he's averaging, nobody's even pressuring him. It's just careless basketball.
And yet, with him off the floor, they have an offensive rating of 107, which would be worse than the league when he's not on the floor.
But as it contribute, it's the wins though.
That's
Is
all
it
I need
contributing to wins?
Yeah. Well, if you have an offensive rating of 107, that's not going to help you win.
But our defense has been carrying us all year. It hasn't been James Harden's offense. And I'm going to make a case with this as well. We're seeing just how important Norman Powell is. Because we don't have a closer.
We've known.
But I'm saying people say that James Harden is this, that, and the other. Reality is that Norman Powell and Ivica Zubac have been making James Harden look good. They've been the most consistent pieces this season.
We're talking about a guy who just hit the game winner last time out for them, by the way, and had 20 in a third quarter.
Against who? The Chicago Bulls, right?
So what? They weren't beating him without him.
But these games he's showing up against, the Utah Jazz, the Washington Wizards, Chicago Bulls, those are teams that we're not going to be seeing in the playoffs.
Okay.
What is he doing against the team?
What about when he dropped 40 on Milwaukee? Was that good?
That was a great game. But the totality of the season is when he plays against tough competition, against the Houston Rockets, against the Dallas Mavericks, against the Lakers, he has not shown up.
Bro, they don't have better, even if all that's true, they do not have better options than James Harden to run the show. And not with how Kawhi has looked so far either.
That's the thing. I'd rather go to all defense. I'd rather go through a team because really you're looking for a point guard. You're looking for a guy that we need somebody to orchestrate the offense and set everything up. I need guys to be able to get stops on the other end and not turn the ball over.
Look,
if you're a point guard that doesn't turn the ball.
BJ, their defense is good with him. Even with James Harden, people always think, oh, how can you have a good defense? You have Luka Doncic. I don't know. The Dallas Mavericks had Luka and Kyrie Irving starting last year. And after the trade deadline, they had the number one defense in the league. There are ways to mask bad defenders. They're a good defense, even with James Harden.
That's what I'm saying. They don't need him on defense. He benefits off their defense. They don't need him on defense.
But he's
they
not
don't need James
killing
Harden.
them in the way you would think is the point.
So he's not getting back on defense when he turns the ball over. That's not momentum killer.
That stuff that stands out that happens once or twice a game, it doesn't override all the positive stuff he does. It doesn't. All that matters is
what are the positives he brings?
I've talked about it ad nauseum. On the defensive end or as a whole?
As a whole. What is it that James Harden brings to the team?
They have probably the lowest amount of self-creators in the league, and he is one on their team. He can go get a bucket, and he can go pass someone else open for a bucket, just like he has his entire career. He hasn't been as efficient. He also has a usage rating that is the same as Shea and Luka when he was with Dallas, and they're in their mid-20s, and he's 35. I think it's pretty understandable that part of the inefficiency is coming from a guy playing way too many minutes at the age of 35 because they don't have options.
But so you're saying first of all, James Harden, he doesn't play both ways of the basketball.
Bro,
see, this is another
all that
thing
matters
too.
is, are you a net positive? He is a net positive out there on the court.
But he's not a net. His style of play, Adam, is not conducive to win a championship.
Bro,
it never has. And Kobe Bryant came out and said that his style of play will not win a championship.
Long-reaching, big picture view of him. I'm talking about this season, him on the Clippers, why they need to use him, and what his role has been and how he's been successful out there. That's what I'm talking about. You can say he has fatal flaws.
So he's been inefficient. That's one extra. He's turn over the ball. Those are two crucial things as a point guard.
So then why are they doing?
But we lower the bar.
And why are they 5 points worse per 100 possessions with him off the floor if he's so bad?
I'm not saying he's not a good offensive player, Adam, but the fact that we're 22th in the league offensively, falls on him.
No. Look at the offensive rating when he's on the floor. that rating is influenced by every lineup and every minute played by a Clippers player. Let's just go off the offensive rating when he's actually out there. That's the one that matters.
When he play, when is he not out there? He's playing almost 40 minutes a
His
game.
offensive rating is over 112 when he's on the floor.
But I'm saying what the impact of him winning games, we don't technically need that. That's what I'm trying to say. We need to actually focus. The defensive end of the ball is why we've been winning these games, not the offense. You keep saying the offense. That's not. We're not winning games. We're winning off of the defensive end all season.
Shots, create advantages, create for others. Like, you can't just hold everybody to 80 points.
But we've been below average offensively. That's what I'm saying.
The court,
we've been below average.
They are a decent offense when he's actually on the court.
Okay, so you're saying decently. So it's nothing like we're not even top 15 offensively. No. And as Kawhi came back, even when Kawhi came back on the court, has the offense even raised when he has came back on the court?
The offense has been raised with Kawhi on the court.
What's the highest we've gotten with him on the court as an offensive rating? It can't be higher than like 18 or 19, which is entirely still too low for a player of his caliber.
What do you mean? Like, no. Like, you're talking about using their entire season and seeing how high the offensive rating has gone since Kawhi has come back?
If we because that was the whole talk. Wait till we get Kawhi Leonard back, our offense is going to raise up. That's what people were saying when we got Kawhi back on the court. He's been back on the court for 17 games now. So how much has our offense raised when Kawhi's been on the court?
Let me tonight was game 18. But if you look at like last 15 games, it's going to be hard because Kawhi has missed a couple in here. But last 15 games, they're 15th in offense.
So you said the last 15 games. So how long has Kawhi been missing? This is his 18th game back?
Yes.
And you're saying that we've raised up to the fifth in the 15th in offensive rating? Because I remember seeing 18. I didn't remember it being that high at 15.
No, that's if you go off the last 15 games the Clippers have played, they are 15th. If you go off of everybody's last 15 games in the NBA, the Clippers are 15th offensively.
But you're just talking about 15 games in general, even though the games that Kawhi missed, even the games Kawhi missed.
There's probably 2 in there that he missed. No, 3. There's three of those 15 he would have missed, and they're 15th.
Okay. So my whole point was that simply James Harden and Kawhi, their offense, Kawhi has never had a point guard like James Harden's style of play. His point guards have always been guys who take care of the ball, who can hit the outside three-point shot, and who can play defense. James Harden fits none of that criteria as a point guard he plays with.
Bro, okay, I get that. Maybe they aren't a great fit. But is Kawhi in a position right now where he can shoulder the load? Like, is it so much about fit, or is it more about Kawhi still not looking like himself?
He's fine, man.
He's not fine. He's fine.
No,
I've seen him in transition being hesitant. He's not moving the same so far. He's not.
So what did he look like against Milwaukee when we played Giannis? Not in Milwaukee, but when we played him in LA. When he was guarding Giannis in the third quarter. What did he look like on both ends of the floor?
Bro, you can pick out certain possessions. It's about sustained. It's about consistently looking good out there. Like, he hasn't consistently been putting it together. He hasn't consistently been knocking down. His mid-range numbers are not good right now, and it's strange to me because he's an assassin there.
He was 8 for 17 tonight from the field. He was 3 for 8 from the 3 tonight. And this is a bad game from Kawhi, but he was on a stretch, and go back and look at the numbers he had when we were on the 6-1 record. He had he was efficient in majority of those games.
He was playing 20 minutes.
But I'm saying I'm just going by because we're saying how he looked like. So I can only go by the minutes.
I agree. He was moving better when he first came back. I thought he looked like he had more pop when he first came back, but he also was playing 19 minutes, 21 minutes, 21, 24, 24, 24, 24. Like, he's not playing heavy minutes then.
I mean, well, when did the minutes really raise up? When did the minutes really raise up?
So the game where I thought he looked best was against San Antonio in San Antonio, when he had 27, 11 of 19 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3, 6 boards, 7 assists. You know, he had that fadeaway over Wemby. I thought that was the best he looked. He was at 29 minutes there.
So that's close to 30 minutes right there. So that at that point, so right there, at that point, there was a change in the offense. They stopped going away from Kawhi. Go look at the numbers. They lost to Toronto. They lost to Indiana. They started putting up a bunch of games where they were going on a losing streak. And Kawhi stopped touching the ball as he was in those earlier games.
I don't know if the numbers would back that up, that he stopped touching the ball right after the San Antonio game.
So the Charlotte game, how many shots did he get?
17.
How much did he get against Toronto?
18.
How much did he get against Indiana?
16.
Okay, so his shots are going down. His attempts are going down.
Oh, not significantly.
But you're gradually going down. They're gradually going down. As the games get going, he's gradually going down.
Are they? Because he just had 22 shots in that loss against Milwaukee. And he tried to, what's the issue there?
The point that I'm making, Adam, is that when we play through Kawhi, when we play through Kawhi, our offense looks much better than what we play through James Harden, unless we're playing against a weak team.
I think you have too much of a bias against James. I'm not necessarily completely disagreeing with you. The only way this team can peak is if they play through Kawhi more. They have to. I agree. I thought the start of the third quarter, when they went through him, as James heated up the other night in Chicago in the third, they started playing through Kawhi beginning of the second half. And that's needed. But I don't think, the reason they lost this game tonight is because they didn't play through Kawhi enough. I think he had plenty of opportunities with the basketball. I saw Gabe Vincent give him trouble at times. That's a little bit alarming to me.
When you get taken, and this is another thing too, with Ty Lue taking him out the fourth quarter at the wrong times. How many times are we going to see Ty Lue take him out the fourth quarter? And I don't know when he's on minutes restrictions and when he's not. There's games that he would play in the fourth and he just takes him out when the game is close. I don't know what that's all about. And I've never seen
he's on a minutes restriction.
And he's at game 16. You ain't on a you shouldn't be on a minute restriction at 15, 16 games.
Bro,
that's entirely too many. That's entirely too many games.
Coach Lue makes these decisions. This is the medical staff. Take it up with them.
I'm just saying that's not usual, Adam.
Yeah, it's not usual. We're talking about a guy who hasn't been able to finish the season the last 4 years.
He played 68 games last year.
And he couldn't finish the season.
They just asked him a few weeks ago. He said he was perfectly fine. He's good. He said that out of his mouth.
What about when he's also said he's basically day to day from here out?
That's what the Clippers say. That's not what he said.
No. Kawhi said that.
I'm day to day. That's what the Clippers say. That's what they say. That's what Ty Lue comes out and say. That's a doctor term. I'm day to day.
Should I pull the post game of Kawhi saying it?
When they ask Ty Lue how is Kawhi feeling, he says day to day. That comes from him. Majority of times that comes from him. All I'm saying is that they asked this man a few weeks ago, and obviously he got tired of answering the same question. He said he's fine.
Don't you think that's why he said he's fine? Because he's not exactly always the warmest with the media. He doesn't want it to be a story. He doesn't want to keep getting questions about it, so he says he's fine. There's a difference. He does not look fine. He does not look like last year's version. If he did, I think it would be plain to everybody. Maybe he'll get there because this was game 18 and they finally the restrictions are off.
It's more. I don't think it has much. I think you're putting more talk on how he feels like physically. I think yes, there's nicks and knacks throughout the season. I mean, he's coming off what he had like a foot injury.
Yeah.
So that's just happened. What he just is his second game back.
Look, I'm not giving up on Kawhi still being able to get to that elite level because he just got the minutes restriction off. I want to see him over the next couple of weeks now.
He hasn't been really defensive. I mean, offensively, yeah. But one thing about Kawhi you can never say, he's always locked in defensively. I don't care if you miss shots.
Bro,
I don't care if you miss shots.
Okay. I wish that was true right now. I have never seen Kawhi look as out of position and as bad as he has defensively over the last couple of weeks. I've been watching him closely on that end, and I do not think he has looked the same.
So give me like a scenario like the Chicago game. How did he look defensively in that game?
First of all, they're often hiding him lately. Like some of the guys that they're putting him on, his movement has not been good. Some of those backdoor cuts by Chicago were on him. I think it's pretty noticeable that on defense he has not looked as good. Everybody in the chat saying the same thing. Like that's the one thing. Like I can't argue with that.
How do you feel about James Harden giving you 9 turnovers, 7 turnovers, 6 turnovers? If this was anybody else, I'm asking you a question because we used to kill Russell Westbrook for this last year. He has 1 turnover, 2 turnovers, misses a layup. The whole world falls apart. This man's had 9, 7, 6 turnovers, and we supposed to just act like it ain't his fault.
I've never said that. I have criticized James Harden, especially in fourth quarters, for some of the turnovers. I just also add the context of he's not supposed to be the number one option at 35. This isn't how it's supposed to go. He's too old to have this much on his plate. It doesn't make sense. And unfortunately, it's because Kawhi hasn't been able to stay healthy enough.
So what option is he supposed to be? Do you think he's a second option? I don't think James Harden's a second option. I think he's a third option on a championship team.
Maybe so. I mean, with how good Zoo looked tonight, it's like I think he should be getting more touches. If Norman Powell's healthy, then like you're not demanding nearly as much out of James.
But that's another thing too. It seems like James, you would think he would give the ball to Zoo more times than not. If we keep saying the same thing, he needs to get more touches. He needs to get more touches. Like, what does that tell you? Who's responsible for giving? Since he's the point guard, who's responsible to get the big man the ball?
I think there's something to that. I also think some of those bad turnovers have come when he tries to force it to Ivica Zubac when they double. He had one bad turnover to him in the fourth quarter tonight where he threw it out in front of him too far.
You're talking about the pick and roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, that's on Harden. Bro, they have figured that pick and roll. First of all,
I criticized him for it. That was a bad pass.
He keeps doing it, Adam, over and over. He keeps doing it.
But BJ, again, they don't have better options.
So you can't swing the ball and just give you a post entry. Ben Simmons can't give a post entry. Chris Dunn can't do a post entry. Amir Coffey can't do a post entry.
Ben Simmons probably shouldn't be out there if Ivica Zubac is out there. They ran it for a little bit in the fourth quarter tonight.
But they were coming back with the lineup where Ben Simmons was in there. They were starting to come back. And that's happened a few games I've seen Ben Simmons. When Ben Simmons is in the game, because you got to look defensively what he brings as well. Defensively, Ben Simmons brings things that James Harden doesn't bring.
Sure. He
so
also
it's
can't
like
shoot, and he's not a scorer.
That's fine. He can score downhill. He can get downhill and score the ball.
Bro, we're talking like score? You mean like 10 points? Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
How much do you need? How many points do you need from him? If Norman
Well,
Powell's
if you're
clicking,
talking about
Visca
him
Zubac.
trying to replace James Harden, it's going to be a lot more than 10.
I mean, James Harden's averaging 21 points per game. If you got Visca Zubac getting the ball, if you got Norman Powell getting the ball when Norman Powell gets back, and you got Amir Coffey can shoot the 3-point, you don't need more than about 10 or 12 points a game from Ben Simmons. You don't need like no 15, 20 points.
Bro, you know what happens with spacing when you have those few shooters out there. Like, how is Ben Simmons going to play next to Chris Dunn, DJ, Ivica Zubac? Like, that it
So
is
you ask me
problematic.
what my
It's the same type of issues you had with Russ, spacing wise.
So you asking me what my lineup would be. I would put the same type of players around James Harden as I do with Ben Simmons. I would put shooters around James Harden or around Ben Simmons. I wouldn't put Chris Dunn with Ben Simmons. I wouldn't put Derek
So
Jones around Ben Simmons.
that's hurting your defense then. That's the problem.
Ben Simmons, Visca Zubac, Kawhi Leonard, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Amir Coffey.
Yeah, your defense is not going to be nearly as good.
You don't think that's a good defensive lineup?
No, Bogey is not a very good defender, and Amir lately has been getting cooked.
But he's not like a terrible defender where he gets exploited. He's still 6'7".
They've been hunting Amir a lot lately, man. Teams have been. I've watched it.
I'll take that. I'll take one defender. Bogey's really the one that gets exploited. I'll take that. But what I'm bringing I bring pace with Ben Simmons on the court. He takes care of the basketball and he plays defense.
This is about you not liking James Harden. I get it. Everybody has their own players that they like, styles of play they like. You're not a fan of James Harden's style. But Ben Simmons replacing the 38 minutes a night from James Harden, I don't think is feasible. I don't think Ben Simmons is playing 50 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back like James Harden.
No, I won't say play Ben Simmons 30. I'm saying take Harden's minutes down. Because you say 35 years old, then why is a 35-year-old playing 38, 40 minutes? They have other options. They don't have to play him 38, 40 minutes.
Maybe with Ben now, they do have another option, but he also just got here. Before that, the KPJ stuff, no.
What do you mean?
I wish him well, but I do not think Kevin Porter Jr. basketball going into ISO mode next to James Harden and Kawhi Leonard is conducive to winning very often.
Right. Ben Simmons don't play like that.
I know, but they just got him. So it's like, okay, so
Right.
maybe they do have another option, but they also just got him. It's not like he's been there all season long and they could have not played James Harden all these minutes.
I think Ty Lue, honestly, man, is going to play James Harden the minutes he plays him because he relies on him to carry the offense. And I think that's a bad idea.
Well, in looking at the on-offs, I can understand why. They're 5 points better per 100 possessions on offense with them.
It's not a win offense, Adam.
Well, they're scoring more and more efficient out there with him. That's what the numbers tell you.
They're not winning with that system.
Bro, they're not winning the championship if Kawhi can't get back to looking like Kawhi. Like
Kawhi is not going to get back. Kawhi is not. That's what I'm trying to say. He's not going to play like that under James Harden's offensive system. He's not going to play like that.
How is what's happening with James Harden on offense and them being a bad match there making Kawhi look worse on defense, which he has?
No. I'm speaking because you said Kawhi has to get back to who Kawhi is offensively.
But I'm saying I don't think it's about the fit next to James Harden, what's going on. I think it's about Kawhi not looking like Kawhi yet. I think that's the real thing happening, not he and James Harden can't work when I just saw a 26-5 run with those two playing next to each other last year. Kawhi loves him. Like he was smiling all the time. He wanted him. I don't think Kawhi thinks they can't work together or something. Is that fair? Bueller? BJ? Am I back alone? BJ, you there? Man, my computer's gonna die.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I missed the last part you said.
My point, BJ, is I don't think Kawhi and his lack of scoring right now or lack of looking like a top 5 player is because of James Harden. I think it's because Kawhi isn't moving the same way and isn't as confident in his body right now.
But you just said he was moving great when he first came back. Even if you say he wasn't the same minutes, he was still moving great when he first came back. And in that stretch, he was playing. Even before his foot injury just recently, he was moving good. So the fall off only happened after this foot injury.
No. I saw him even early on when I thought he looks fluid out there. And early on, I'm still giving him more grace because it is so early. But he still was hesitant in transition in ways that I haven't seen. And that has kind of remained. He's
okay, hesitant in moving. I'm sorry, go ahead.
He will, instead of going full board coast to coast, or when he's had opportunities to really push the pace and he has a one-on-one against a guy, there have been times where Kawhi is like just trying to draw the foul or wait for the cavalry to come and him to pass to somebody else in transition. He doesn't look as confident in his body going up for those, more active, explosive plays.
Okay. Now, resistance, I can see resistance. But when he first came back, especially on the floor against Atlanta, he was moving great. And there was a stretch he was moving exactly like that. Offensively, scoring baskets, yeah, he was rusty. But how he's moving on the court, I didn't see none of that when he first came back. And that stretch happened for quite some time. It was more about him just getting the rust off, making shots.
How many?
That's what. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how many blow-bys has Kawhi had since he's back? How many can you remember of when he's even, with a guy and he turns the corner on him? There was one in the second half tonight where he got past DFS, I think in the fourth, and that was good to see. But I'm not seeing him get the step on guys in the way I think we need to see it for him to be a superstar.
Well, that's based off of just belief. Kawhi's game's not by blowing by people.
But he has to get an advantage though. I agree with that to a point, but he could still do it here and there. And I don't know what's going on in the mid-range.
Well, his shot's just flat. I mean, I've seen that before. There's been games where he's not making middies. It's just his legs getting his lift back. I mean, like we just saw, it's a foot situation. I'm not worried about Kawhi's shot coming back. That's the least of my worries.
I agree. I feel like in looking at the numbers, it's the mid-range that's not there right now. And that's what he does. So I feel like that's going to come eventually.
Right. I mean, what is he shooting right now this season from the field? If I look this up, he's shooting 45% right now. So that's not entirely bad. That's not
no, but if you looked at
terrible
2-point percentage the last 9 games coming into tonight was lower than his 3-point percentage. He was shooting 47% from 3 the last 9 games coming into tonight and 43% from 2. And where he's been missing from 2 is from the 10 to 16 feet area. And he's not taking a lot of mid-range shots also. And I do think there could be something there with a snag in the offense. Why aren't they getting him to his spots more? because there was a timeout in this game in the first half where right afterwards he got a wide open free throw line jumper and sunk it. And they ran an ATO to him there. I just feel like he's not getting it enough in his sweet spots.
That's why I've been saying. I don't know. It doesn't fit. I know you're gonna get annoyed, but it don't fit Harden's style of play. See, this is the thing. This is what I'm gonna say.
All right.
You have when you have James Harden, you have to run a certain style of offense that's comfortable for him. And what is James Harden comfortable with? Lob threats, 3-point shooters, guys that roll to the basket. So when you and this is crazy, but it seems like Ty Lue is catering more to James Harden than Kawhi Leonard. You just asked the question, why are they not getting to his sweet spots? Where Kawhi's sweet spots are on the court are spots where James Harden needs room and space. He needs spacing around him. So what do? They put Kawhi Leonard in the corner. They wait for him to hit 3-point shots. That's how James Harden needs the offense set up for him. I'm saying, and can I cuss on this?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. I'm saying, fuck that. James Harden, this is Kawhi Leonard's team. I need him comfortable. I need him in his spots. The ball must run through him.
I agree.
With hands down.
I agree.
So that's why I'm not saying I dislike James Harden. I'm saying his style of play does not fit how Kawhi plays basketball. And my thing is, again, like I told you, I'm not concerned about. I know Kawhi Leonard. I believe he will be fine. I think he'll be fine.
Okay. But my question is this. I agree with you about the ball needs to go through him. The problem is, my question is he him yet? As in, is he that guy still? Is he that dude? Is he that superstar where you should be running the ball through him?
I believe he is.
We need to see it then.
If you get him in this.
You're saying you can't see it because of the offense. I'm saying there have been plenty of plays where the ball's been in his hands a lot, and I'm not seeing the same movement from Kawhi that I need to see to feel like he's still the same version of himself from last year.
Where is he catching the ball at more times than not when you're seeing him catch the ball? Is it on the perimeter or is it in the mid post? Is it on the elbow? Where is he usually catching the ball? Where did he catch the ball more times than not tonight?
I mean, I saw plays on the elbow where he had Gabe Vincent on him, and it didn't look great.
You sure he just didn't miss the shot? You didn't think he didn't get to his spot? Because they were throwing two at him. As soon as he catch the ball.
At times, yeah. I agree. He needs to get more entry passes in the mid post. And I've been talking about this. You see my tweets. I pulled video from the San Antonio game where Harden was feeding him in the mid post. And I said, why aren't we doing this more? I think two things could be happening. That they're not running it through him enough, and Kawhi still isn't himself yet.
But what was he against San Antonio then?
You can have good games. Everybody could have. MJ Wizards had good games here and there. It doesn't mean he could consistently do it. To be a star, you got to do it all the time.
So when did the fall off happen, though? Because you said San Antonio, and that's why I said as well after that Spurs game, and it wasn't just Kawhi. Ty Lue said it too. He was annoyed through that after Charlotte, after Toronto, and I think they had another game at home where they lost that game, and they went on a 3-game losing streak. And Ty Lue spoke about the ISO style of play.
Hey, didn't you ask him about that pregame?
Yeah, and he told me, and he tried to throw it off and say, well, the spacing and all that. I said, nah, you bullshitting me. You know what the issue is. It's this ISO that you're trying to run that's taking the ball out of Kawhi's hands.
The question, okay, I got a question, BJ.
Go ahead.
When was that post game that we were talking about where Kawhi, you said he looked annoyed? I'm trying to think, what game was that after?
That was after the Indiana game, I believe.
At Intuit.
Yes.
I wonder if I can find that here.
It should be on. Go on Joey's Twitter.
No.
It should be there.
I think
He was sitting down.
He was sitting down, right? Okay, so it's not the Indiana game then, because I got him standing up after that one. Oh, I think I found it.
Okay.
This is after their win.
That was against the Jazz,
130
right?
to 110 over the Jazz.
And he looked annoyed after. That's right. He looked annoyed
All
after
right,
that
I want
game.
to share the screen so everybody can see it.
Okay.
This is good because I've been meaning to get back to this and find this clip because I do think there was something there. We're doing some real, all the president's been investigative. Woodward, Bernstein. Let's see.
Yeah,
So
that's what we do.
when was this game? I'm trying to look at the schedule and get the exact date of when this game was. This was February 8th.
Yeah.
So they had already been blown
about a
out
month
by the
ago.
Lakers. They just lost to Indiana. This is their get-right game against Utah.
They're like the worst team in the league.
Yeah, they're bad. Kawhi in that game took 9 shots in 31 minutes.
How many minutes he played?
31 minutes, took 9 shots.
Now, what does that tell you?
Well, that could be one of the reasons he's annoyed, but I want to play this audio. Are you seeing the same thing I am? Okay, good. I want to see if we can find this here. All right.
What'd you make of tonight's game? You guys, it was kind of almost like a polar opposite of Thursday night where, you guys got out to a big start, but then tonight.
What do you think about Bogdan coming to the team? He got introduced tonight.
James, about just the 2010s era of NBA stars that you're playing at a high level.
It just shows how great they are, you know what I mean? Even still here, playing at a high level, getting to the All-Star, shows their commitment and their dedication to the craft.
Patty spoke about how kind of surreal it is that the two of you.
Opportunity to be there. 10 years ago, we'll be here. But we have an opportunity to be a better team. And, it's fun to have them here. And, we reflect back on different stories.
Here it comes.
Kawhi, how are you guys balancing? Obviously, Zoo had a big game today after a bit of didn't score as much last game. How are you guys balancing the kind of all the mouths you guys have to feed with you, James, Norm, Zoo?
I don't know. They've been doing it all year, so just stepping in and trying to figure it out myself.
You hear that too, BJ?
Yeah, that's not it, or that's not the quote. I hear it though.
No, your quote's coming, but that's the one that got me a little bit alarmed. Listen to this again. Yours is coming right after this. Let's listen to it again.
Balancing. Obviously, Zoo had a big game today after a bit of didn't score as much last game. How are you guys balancing the kind of all the mouths you guys have to feed with you, James, Norm, Zoo?
I don't know. They've been doing it all year, so just stepping in and trying to figure it out myself.
They've been doing it all year. I'm just stepping in trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
He doesn't exactly look happy there.
Yeah.
Took just 9 shots in the game. All right. And now I think your part's coming next. This is good. Woodward and Bernstein right here.
Right.
Speaking about that, do you feel at times like maybe not cognizant of it, but like you don't want to step on their toes at times because of what they have done throughout the season?
No.
So for you, it's basically just plug and play, same as it was?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just out there playing and seeing when I could get my shots or when I could be aggressive. I don't feel no way about stepping on muddy toes. It's not like we're the #1 seed or something.
Come on, Adam. Come on, man.
What? Come on, what? I don't disagree.
That's what I'm saying. The dude's annoyed, man. That dude is, bro. He is literally saying, without saying, we're not going to win playing like this. Last year, remember the quote he said about how we're winning off of talent?
Yeah. Vaguely.
He was basically calling out the coaching scheme. That was him saying We're winning.
What are you? Are you the Kawhi whisperer? Come on.
I'm just speaking about like me playing ball, bro. Like there's certain. I mean, I'm speaking about. I mean, I'm not saying like. I'm pretty sure I can by that quote saying like we're winning off of talent. That's just simply saying like we're winning simply because of us, and we need you to come along with us and actually coach the way that you need to be coached. That's what I heard when I saw Kawhi say that last year.
Well, with what he just said there, interpreting that, first of all, I agree with him. He shouldn't be worried about stepping on anybody's toes. So you take him at his word there? Because if he's not worried about stepping on anybody's toes, what's the problem?
Wait, say it again. My bad, I didn't hear you.
If he's not worried about stepping on anybody's toes, what's the problem?
Right
He
now,
should be able to demand the ball and have it played through him.
well, that's the thing. The point guard has to give him the ball.
But he brings the ball up a lot too.
How
And
much
even
percent?
and you know, James has been playing off ball a little bit more.
But so when they have Ben Simmons gives him the ball, Chris Dunn gives him the ball, but the majority of the times he has to deal with James Harden. They have no issue giving him the ball. Kawhi really brings up the ball. It's really Chris Dunn, it's Ben Simmons, and James Harden. Those are three guys. But that they don't have. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're looking at how they play, all three play, they understand Chris Dunn and Ben Simmons to give the ball to him. When James Harden has the rock, and this has just been him since he's been in Houston. It's not even his fault. It's just his style of play. The ball sticks with him, and he determines who gets the basketball. He's going to give it ball off of a screen and roll, off of a lob, or off a corner three about 80 to 90% of the time.
Okay. But I've seen him give Kawhi the ball a lot. I mean, I posted the clip in the San Antonio game of him giving him the ball. It happened tonight. I mean, we could probably look up the analytics of this, how many passes he's made to him. But I don't think it's nothing what you're saying, because I agree. They need to run it through Kawhi more. And he did seem annoyed after that game, which is why I remember that post game just like you. I also think the larger issue that is holding back Kawhi and the team is that he's just not in rhythm. The timing isn't there, and maybe he's not moving the same either, because in transition, it's been noticeable to me. That's where I'm coming from.
Well, also it's his how his minutes are being messed up too. Like that's why I brought up tonight. You sit him out for a certain period of time in the fourth quarter, and then you bring him in with like 2.5 minutes. So when you're on the bench, you get cold. You're not getting that can throw you off a rhythm too. When you just sit on the bench for like 6 minutes, you're gonna get cold, and you ask to bring him back in. That's messing with his rhythm.
It can, but I think we're making too many excuses for him at that point. Like he played 38 minutes tonight. The restriction was off. He played heavy minutes. He was out there to end the game. I don't
So he
know.
went 8 for 17 tonight. It was more so the free throws that really messed it to me. I mean, 8 for 17 is not. We're holding Kawhi to Kawhi standards, which is not normal.
Right.
So but I'm saying 8 for 17 is not a horrible. That's not 5 for 22. That's not 4 for 20.
No,
that's still a good percentage.
Well, if he had a string of 30-point games already that I could look back upon and say, whatever, he had an 8 for 17 night, cool. But he hasn't established himself as being that guy yet.
He has to get the ball at him.
He got up 17 shots. He had the ball plenty tonight. Plenty. He did. I was waiting for him to try to take over more. He had chances. I think it's less about that. I do.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's nothing, though. I'm not saying it's nothing. But I need to see him find that another gear.
I need to see it too. But all I'm saying is that if you're saying the guy, first of all, I'm saying there's other things and other factors that he's saying but he's not saying if that makes sense. Like what you just played, and when you said you saw something in that, I'm gonna ask you, what did you see when you saw that interview, the one that you just played?
I could see he looked a little bit annoyed, but it's also, I don't like reading too much into Kawhi stuff because he can look like that after a game where he has 32. Like, it's Kawhi. He doesn't like doing the media stuff. It's not his thing. He doesn't want to have to talk a bunch. It's fine. I love him. I love him for it. I can see, though, how that would be interpreted as Kawhi felt some type of way because you connect the dots of him only taking 9 shots in that game.
Now, why? I'm gonna ask you another question. Why is he getting up 9 shots? Why is Ivica Zubac getting 8 shots in certain games when he's the most efficient player on the court? Who is responsible for getting these guys the ball?
It depends on how you measure efficiency sometimes, but Ivica Zubac
doesn't get the ball enough, like you said.
Bro, but I see him in second units not get the ball. It's like James Harden's not even there.
Dude, he's playing 39, 40 minutes. He's not there enough. He's playing more times than not. You want to say, Adam, this is our point guard. He is the point guard. If we're going to hold, and I'm not saying you specifically, but if we're going to hold Russell Westbrook last year, who has never had 8, 9 turnovers, even when he was playing heavy minutes for us before James Harden came, if we're going to hold him to a standard of him missing layups at times and turn the ball over, we got to keep the same energy with James Harden when he's making turnovers down the stretch of games, when he's averaging 6, 7 turnovers. We have to hold him to that same level.
I do. But in my opinion, the good outweighs the bad with James Harden. It does not with Russ.
I disagree with that one.
I mean, I'm glad he found the one team that, figured out a way to use him because he has an otherworldly big man passer out there like we've never seen before. But I could pull the numbers and still show that actually the Denver Nuggets have a better offensive rating with him off the floor and a better defensive rating with him off the floor.
Well, so that's by your numbers. So this is what I'll say about
it's not by my numbers. It's offensive and defensive rating, on and off numbers.
When Russell Westbrook at the beginning of the season, it was him and Nikola Jokic. When Aaron Gordon was out and Jamal Murray was playing trashy, they were help carrying that team. It was those two. Before James Harden got to the team, Russell Westbrook, there was nothing to complain about him. He was shooting the ball. He wasn't turning the ball over. When James Harden came onto the team, because they played exactly the same way, they had to make a decision who they're going to start at point guard. And James Harden, they chose him over Russell Westbrook. He had to come off the bench. But before James Harden came to the team, the Clippers with Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George, that trio had the best offensive rating in the league. There was nothing wrong with Russell Westbrook before he came to the team.
It was like 30 minutes. It was such a small sample size.
He was shooting the stretch that he had when he first came at that trade deadline through the rest of that season, he was shooting over 40% from the 3. He wasn't turning the ball over like
that's totally sustainable. Russell Westbrook, that's totally sustainable. Him shooting 40%.
I'm just saying what he did. I'm just saying what he did. You said the good outweighed the bad. Russell Westbrook, what was the bad before James Harden came? What was the bad?
It was like 8 games or something like that, if that. And they weren't playing well.
What do you mean?
Their wins, they had like the turnaround fadeaway by Russ against Utah that had Kawhi falling to the floor. That was a bad loss. I think they might have beat Orlando early in the season. It's way too small.
There was more good than bad, Adam.
Way too small. Bringing up Russell Westbrook in like a 5-game stretch, shooting 40% from 3, when we know he's a career 30%3-point shooter. Come on.
The bad did not weigh out the good when he was before that year. Even in the playoffs that year, on that 5 games where Kawhi Leonard went down, every single one of those games against Phoenix healthy, those were competitive games. He didn't mess up any flow with the team before James Harden came.
Now what? Now what's the excuse for him going 8 of 42 in the last 5 games as a Clipper against Dallas when they needed him this last year?
Because of how you're playing him. You're
No,
putting
no,
him
no,
as
no, 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 no,
you're
no.
not playing him. He's not playing. This is another thing. When you have Russell
Always
Westbrook being more of a off-ball 3-point shooter, which has never been his game, that's the same way you playing him with the Lakers when he came with LeBron James. And then they see, okay, well, he goes to the Clippers. Oh, he can actually play again. But before he was like he was washed. He was a guy that couldn't play, even though he was averaging 17, 7, and 7 his first year with the Lakers.
Let's cater lineups around a 35-year-old former superstar that can't shoot. That's how you want to live in your basketball world? Fine. That's not my thing. Like
better than put. I mean, we can all talk about deficiencies. They can all talk about deficiencies.
No, not all deficiencies are created equal. Not being able to shoot at all is a pretty fatal one.
What about not playing defense at all?
Well, Russ
what
does
about
that.
turning the ball over?
Russ
what
does
about
that
having
plenty too. Russ's defense is always up and down.
His on-ball defense.
He can play good sometimes, but how often does it happen?
Well, he's guarded Kevin Durant.
Yes.
he's guarded Luka Doncic. He's guarded Devin Booker. He's guarded superstar players and actually held his own.
mean, shall I talk about James Harden and his post defense against Giannis? Like, I can't talk about stuff like that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So James Harden is a really good post defender.
If you put him in the post, you got me there. But he's not going to be on the post more times now. He's going to have to guard on the perimeter. And when you put him on the perimeter, I mean, he might as well just gives up defensively.
Okay. Like, I'm not arguing that Russ overall isn't a better defender than James Harden. He is. But Harden's so much better in every other way to me, that does not matter. Including, you talk about the amount of turnovers. Like, okay, why don't we start counting smoked layups as turnovers? Because it was happening all the time where they'd go the other way 5-on-4 after Russ missed an out-of-control layup.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And how many times does Russ get back on defense?
Bro, he did not get back on defense the way you're acting like he did.
I'm saying, what is the main thing that Russell Westbrook, the main component of his game that's always applauded? What's the one aspect of his game that everybody always marvels at when they talk about him?
High energy, even though it's overblown because he's not giving high energy all the time on defense at all. He's capable. He does it sometimes. It is not consistent. There's no way.
I mean, it's really his effort. That's why I want to go with his effort. That's what you can never deny about him. Yeah, he's not. He does smoke layups at times, and I'll give you that. You can turn the ball over. You can miss a layup, but bro, when you don't get back on defense and you just jog, bro, that just to me shows that you just don't want to make up for the mistake that you did.
Okay, but that stuff stands out to you. I get it. I don't like that stuff either when it happens. But it doesn't happen frequently enough to where it just destroys the team. I don't believe that. I don't think it's that fatal. And that's the stuff that matters to me. How much good are you doing versus bad? And I think the good far outweighs the bad with James Harden. And I think it's always been like that. And I appreciate Russ, but I think his chaotic style, it's not for me.
So let me ask you this question too. All time, who do you think is accomplished more between the two?
Oh, James Harden took, I think, the best team ever to 7 games.
Okay.
That's the better accomplishment to me.
Okay.
And had a chance to win. And if he had CP3, maybe they take down the super Golden State Warriors.
I mean, yeah, but that's another thing too. You had a chance to do the following season. You had CP3 there. There was no Kevin Durant. Or there was James Harden and CP3, and then Kevin Durant, he was hurt that series, right?
I don't think they got him the 2019 year.
They did in the conference semifinals, and Kevin Durant didn't play. You had a chance to win that series.
I don't think that's true.
Houston lost in 6 games. Remember that when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson closed them out in Houston? Kevin Durant was hurt. That was the same year he tore his Achilles. He didn't play that Houston series. You had a chance to win that series. What happened?
Even so, he's accomplished more to me. Even if that is true, he's accomplished more to me than Russell Westbrook. Like, I think he's gotten more out of his ability. I don't think his bad habits are as detrimental as Russell Westbrook's are.
I mean,
I'm not saying he doesn't have bad habits. I just think in this comparison, I'll take his over Russ's all day long, because a guy you have to hide all the time because he can't shoot, it just leads to so many rotation issues.
Do you think James Harden's style of play is suitable for winning a championship?
Yeah, because I've seen guys. I think he easily could have, if they don't run into the best team ever. I think they easily could have won the championship. You can say they had a shot the next year. Every year is different. But that year, I think Houston was the second best team in the league, and they were only second to a Golden State Warriors team that added KD.
All right, well, I think James Harden is ultra talented, but I just think that his game is suitable more for his numbers than it is winning. That's why I honestly, truly believe.
Well, I think there's a philosophy thing there when it comes to the ball being in a guy's hands that much. Can you win at the highest level? I mean, LeBron's been able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I think people brought this up with Luka. I think that's one of the reasons Nico wanted to get rid of him. I think he thinks it could be a fatal flaw.
I agree. I think the Mavericks got better. I think their defense now with Anthony Davis and that front line is more suitable. I think the Clippers have more trouble beating this Dallas team than they did before.
Maybe, but their defense was good with Luka. Like, I think they had the #1 rating after the trade deadline last year. And even if they could get better, he still could have gotten more for Luka Doncic than he got. That's what bothers me.
So Anthony Davis, I mean, is he a top 10 player?
When he's healthy and right.
So you got him, you got Max Christie.
He's also 6 years older. You don't
True.
trade a top 5 player at 25.
I mean, that's another conversation with Luka too. I don't. Here's another. I don't rate him as high as certain people.
You don't got him top 5?
I don't. I have him right outside of
He's got
it.
5 first team.
All NBA first teams. I get it. But I like guys who play both ways, and I think there's certain guys at their peak, they're better players. I think Jokic is a better player. I think Giannis is a better player.
Okay.
I think Jason Tatum's a better player. I think Kawhi is a better player.
Kawhi
at his peak.
Kawhi, at his peak, I agree with you. I agree.
So at his peak, he's better.
I agree. So, I think they would have beat him in that first round series last year if Kawhi was at his peak, obviously.
So I mean,
but it's I do see a world where maybe he takes care of his body so poorly, Luka Doncic doesn't end up having a long career. It's possible.
How do you feel about SGA?
He's going to be the MVP, which I said before the season started.
Do you think he's better than Luka?
Yeah.
So that's 5 guys right there I have over him.
Okay, that's fair. But it's like he's in the conversation, though. Whenever you say like a guy's top 10 or top 5, and then you actually go through it, it's different. But he's in the conversation, and somebody else might take him over SGA, and it's going to be like, well, you beat him in that playoff series. Maybe you got a point. It's close. But right now, I mean, we're kind of talking about last 5 years. Right now, today, yeah, it's not that close.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the other part of the pain we're going to have to experience as Clippers fans coming soon. SGA is about to win the MVP.
I like it. I like his demeanor. I like SGA.
He's like a perfect superstar. I love his demeanor.
Yeah, man. Well, Adam, been a pleasure, man. Appreciate you having me on. I had to just get on here. How do we
got 2 more hours to go. What are you talking about?
the hell? Man, it's midnight. It's 1 o'clock. You on
I
crack or
appreciate
something?
this conversation was a long time coming. We've been talking about getting together and doing this, so it's good to have it.
Do we win on Sunday?
James Harden and Kawhi have to outplay Luka and LeBron. I mean, they got outscored. I think it's 59-39 between those two duos tonight. I think they do. I think they're good enough. But I don't know. Is Austin Reeves going to be back? They only saw him for 9 minutes. That's a problem.
Yeah, if Norman Powell ain't back, yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
It sounds like he's going to be, according to Justin Russo. He's expected to be. So if they have Norm back, yeah, I think they'll win. I think Kawhi will be more aggressive. I don't know. I just can't wrap my mind around the Lakers with Luka Doncic beating the Clippers twice in a weekend. I know it could very well happen. I don't want to go there right now. Maybe because it's so late at night that I'm close to going to bed, and that means I'll have another nightmare.
How do you feel about Ty Lue, Adam? Honestly.
I think he's a top 3 coach. I think he has blind spots like every other coach. I think every top coach, if you listen to the fan base, they'll say, oh, this guy sucks, or this guy does this wrong. And it's like, well, nobody's perfect to your liking, but does he still have way more positives than negatives? Of course. That's what makes him top 3 to me.
I think the one thing that I think is respectable is that what he has a little and make a lot out of it. Like he'll have rosters where guys will be hurt and he's able to get the best out of them. So I think that's
let me ask you something then.
Yeah.
Do you think this team has overachieved so far this season?
Yeah.
All right. I'm with you. They're 5 games over 500. They've gotten 18 so far from Kawhi, and he hasn't been close to an all-NBA level yet.
Yeah, that's partially coaching. Like Ty Lue, I can already tell he's like a coach where he's like I won't say a player's coach. He's more of a coach like he can relate to players since he was one before. And I think that resonates with the stars. I think that resonates with the team. But yeah, they definitely overachieved.
I give Jeff Van Gundy credit too. He's been very good this season.
Oh yeah, Jeff Van Gundy defensively has been the ace.
Do you like the fact that they were switching so easily with Ivica Zubac on the perimeter? I don't think it ended up killing them, honestly. They gave up 106 points. But there were times where I was like, maybe we should just try to fight through these screens.
I was actually surprised how well Zubac was guarding. There was that one step back 3 that Luka hit, but for the most part, Zubac did his job guarding Luka and guarding LeBron. So he took the challenge. But I would like to see them play go zone, go on a 2-3 zone for a minute, go on a 1-2-2. Hell, OKC does it. Like there's ways, like you said, to like hide deficiencies in your defense. So if you can't guard or you have to, worry about Luka and LeBron asking for a screen over and over and over, well, if you go on the zone, that's going to force them to take outside shots. Why Ty Lue doesn't think about it, I have no idea. But that could help not just Zubac, that can help everybody on the court.
Well,
That
Chicago got him with the zone last game for a little bit in the second quarter.
Yeah.
I agree. I like a zone here and there.
Yeah, and it's the
But
Lakers.
it's also
I mean,
like, well, they are the second best defense this season. Maybe we're nitpicking.
yeah. But like I said, like I'm more so about how the game is going. I mean, each game is different, and Luka and LeBron gonna ask for screens over and over. They don't want certain guys guarding them. Okay, check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and put this zone on you, so this screen ain't gonna matter. You're gonna have to answer one way or another, and that zone is gonna force you to have to do what I want you to do.
What people are talking about in the chat, and I didn't like it either, but Bogey kept getting switched on LeBron in that second quarter when LeBron had 10 points. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Like I said, man, there's ways to hide your players' deficiencies where they're not unplayable. Like that's your job as the coach. Your job is to make sure you make your players' strengths stronger and their weaknesses, hidden as much as possible. I mean, I remember this when we were playing Luka in 2021. You had essentially Patrick Beverly and Viska Zubac guarding Luka over and over, and all he kept doing is asking for a screen. So not until Ty Lue went small, you had Nicholas Batum, you had Kawhi, you had PG, you had guys like that who Marcus Morris at the time. So now when you ask for a screen, Luka, you no longer can pick on our big who's too slow and our small who's too small. Now you're going to deal with a 6'6" to about a 6'9" wing every single time. Now you might score here and there, but your efficiency will go down, your turnovers will go up, and you will exert more energy. You're not going to keep picking on the same person over and over.
I remember like the last 4 games of that series or something, Lucas shot like 25% in fourth quarters. It wore him down.
Man, Adam.
Right. Are we done?
No, I thought you were done. That's why I was like, I'm going to get off. But if it's Clippers after dark, I'm still good. But with Luka, man, listen, I seen Kawhi kick his ass so many times, man. I don't give him the same. He's a great offensive talent.
But did Kawhi not have the better teams in those situations?
Well, here's the thing. If you look at the numbers, his numbers were better than Luka's.
I agree.
So it's like it wasn't even about the team. It was simply him against his team was better on paper, but guys were not. He had the same amount of contributions as Kawhi did, especially in that 21 series. We weren't supposed to be down 2 games to 0. Kawhi willed us in that series to win that series. Luka just could not get to Kawhi's level.
Maybe. I think there was more on his plate. I think Kawhi was better. I do think there was more on Luka's plate on offense.
But not defensively.
No, but I don't think those things are equal either. They should be, but I don't think they are.
So you think Luka has more responsibility than Kawhi did?
On offense? Overall, maybe. Because Kawhi had more talent around him at that time.
So
I still think he was better. Don't get me wrong. I still think it was better. 45 in that game 6 on the road with the crowd back is the greatest performance by a Clipper in franchise history.
So let me ask you this question. When you watch Kawhi Leonard and you watch Luka Doncic play, based off of your eye test, who seems to be exerting more energy throughout the game?
Well, I mean, Luka looks way more tired.
Okay.
I'm not. Kawhi probably covers more ground. I agree with you. Look, there's no argument here. I think Kawhi is best. I'm taking him every time over Luka.
Okay.
I'm just saying, Luka is incredible. He is a special, special player. He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen, and he just turned 26 today.
I agree. I think offensively, he's one of the greatest players who's ever played. Because I keep hearing people say, well, Luka kills the Clippers. Luka kills the Clippers. But what about Kawhi when he does to the Mavericks?
Yeah.
Like, again, like when you look at I look at the clutch moments as well down the stretch of games. Are you guarding the best player? Like, are you like Kawhi's numbers? You're not going to really look at Kawhi's numbers. That doesn't serve how great he is. It's more about the eye test. You have to watch him through the game to see how great he is. Like, you're not going to see him fill up the stat sheet. That's not how he plays. You're not going to see a bunch of triple doubles. You're going to see a guy throughout the game going to make the big plays in the clutch moments when they count. You're going to see his dominance throughout the game, within the game. That's how I judge Kawhi.
No, I'm with you. Like, the thing is, the analytics have always loved Kawhi too. Like, his impact, even if you can't measure it in the traditional box score, the advanced box scores always catch it.
Yeah, shooting. That's another thing. His shooting splits. I mean, you're talking about a guy who can give you, I think in 21 was 57, 39, and 88 in that series. That's another thing. Like, are you efficient and you make your free throws down the stretch? I think I recall in that series, I think Luka shot like 60% from the field, and his free throw percentage is not still, I think he's in the 70s right now. I mean, I can exploit Luka in more ways, even to this day, than I can exploit Kawhi.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at Kawhi's game, I mean, the real thing I can say that his weakness is probably his playmaking, which comes more so through double teams. But
no, Kawhi is close to a flawless player.
Exactly.
But is he still that? I got a lot of people in the chat right now saying Kawhi's a role player now.
Adam, that's called trolling.
I hope it is. I hope it is.
That's called trolling. What do you think?
His numbers are much better than a role player. Like, even if like his numbers ended at where they're at today, where is he at? 45% from the field, 39% from three, 19 per game. That's like third player on championship team type stuff. But we need him to get back to first player to have that hope again. And I'm not giving up yet. In fact, I just watched the replay, just came on ESPN. And man, he went after that ball that was on the floor right away when they got that steal on Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I remember that play. It's like a half quarter, close to half
Bro,
quarter.
you need to show Chris Dunn way more love than you have. Way more love.
You'll be proud of me. I sent some of his flowers after the Indiana game. Or the Milwaukee game.
Bro, he's had like three games the last 5 days that are some of the best defensive games I've seen.
Yeah, Milwaukee, he shut down Damian Lillard. Detroit, he guarded Kay Cunningham. And then tonight, he was playing great defense. I gave it up to him on my show a few days ago.
My bad then. I'll apologize. I normally catch your shows, but we've been podcasting at the same time too much lately. And you do all these 3.5-hour shows. I mean, who the fuck would do something like that? Oh, we're at 3 hours and 24 minutes right now.
I love this, Adam. You should already know this about me. I love this. You, on the other hand, how many days has been Clipper talk for you? Like,
we just crossed over into day 149.
Yeah, that's called obsession.
Ball is life. I love it. Like, I love the NBA so much. I love what LeBron said recently about being the face of the league and how negative people are towards the NBA. I don't get it. I love the league. I love where it's at. I think it's a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of nostalgia going on. I've been saying it for years, long before. Who was it? Channing Frye said that the other day.
Yeah, I don't. There's good and bad about every generation,
Yeah,
decade.
yeah.
I mean, this generation is definitely. I love the creativity of this generation. I love how they score the ball and how they use their offensive skill set. I hate how they don't take defense seriously.
Do you think that's
But
true though? Like, I think when people complain about, oh, there's not enough defense, what I'm seeing is you have to cover way more ground than you ever did before. Like, you go back and watch the 80s and they're lining up inside the 3-point line. Like, it's way easier to play defense then.
well, they take defense more seriously back then. I mean, I think the most era was in the 2000s to score. That's why I think was the toughest era. I just don't think these guys give a damn about defense anymore. I'm gonna be honest. From look at the All-Star game, man.
That's
You
different.
played hard. You played like kind of like, okay, in the first half it's kind of like, okay, let's have fun. But the second half, you're gonna at least go after it. You got All-Star games at 200 points, man. Like, what is that?
But, bro,
What is that?
I pulled a clip from the 1990 All-Star game that I put on Twitter recently. And the very first talking point to start the game was whether or not they were actually going to play defense. From 1990, it's Hubie Brown on the call, and they're joking like, yeah, these guys aren't playing a lick of defense today. Are we sure it was that different?
Yeah, I think it was a different time, man. I mean, it's not even, to be honest with you. I mean, look, it's a mindset, and I think I heard somebody said this, NBA player. They're like, they said, okay, what do you think's the difference between the players of today to the players of the 90s and 2000s? Like, why are they getting hurt than what they were before?
I can
And
tell you
someone's like,
why.
well, they don't take. They said, well, it's because they don't take care of their bodies. He said, no, that's not it. He said it's a mentality thing. Like, guys are taking games off. Guys don't play back to backs in the 2000s and stuff. You weren't getting away with that. Like, there was a badge of honor to play 82 games, 80 games. Now guys are playing like 50, 60 games, being questionable. Like, you didn't have none of that. Like, I just think it's like a different time. It's like a culture. It's a mindset. It's guaranteed contract, guaranteed money. I mean,
I think the mindset is a small part of it. I think it's special. Like, from the research I've done, what doctors say is specialized sports with kids playing year round at a young age and all the training and stuff they do compared to back in the day means there's way more tread off the tires when they come into the league. Way more. Like, MJ's trainers quoted as saying he didn't pick up a basketball till September after the season was over. He's playing golf and stuff. Guys don't do that anymore.
yeah,
Guys
they're
are
playing
playing
pickup.
all the time.
They're playing pickup and throughout the summertime and stuff.
Yeah, like,
They're
it's AAU on the way up. You're playing all the time.
well, you're playing all the time, but also the game isn't as physical.
But it is when you account for running more. The numbers all say they're running more miles per game because there's more movement in the half court.
But so are you talking about adults or are you talking about kids?
I'm talking about kids turning into adults. By the time they get to the NBA, there's an article called "Is Youth Basketball is Ticking Time Bomb on Knees" or something like that. And it has all these doctors and trainers talking about it. And this is like from 2018 of why people are getting injured more now. And so it starts at a young age. They're playing way more then. Then they're also playing more. Even when they get to the league, they're doing more training than they ever done before. All that stuff adds up. And games, early 2000s was still at a slower pace. But now, over the last like 5 to 6 years, the pace has gone back up, and there's way more movement, and guys are running more miles per game. Like, I think it's like half a mile per game at least, or something like that, than it was 10 years ago. But then over a season and then over 10 years, that stuff completely adds up.
I mean, because I remember when you're a kid, even if you're not playing basketball, you're playing baseball, you're playing football, you're playing soccer, because you're gonna run anyway. Now, if you talk about professional athletes, yeah, they didn't spend time playing basketball year round like they do now. But I think again, more so, it's about like look at it, and I want to bring him up again. Russ, as old as he is, he takes pride in being able to be available for games. Jokic takes pride to be available for games. Giannis takes pride to be available for games.
But like you
Shea
think,
gets,
but what does that
Shea,
mean? What does that mean? You
I
think
think it's more.
you think Kawhi doesn't want to be available?
Well, I'm not talking about specifically him. I'm just saying, like in general, you look across the league, it's more becoming like guys are taking games off. They're not playing as many games as they once were. And are we sure it's just simply about how they're training or load on their body, or is it more about, hey, if you condition your mind to think and believe that you want to play a certain level amount of games, you're gonna even James Harden, like these guys who are quote unquote like old or older are playing more games than some of these guys that are coming into the league.
I think that's a part of it, but I think it's a much smaller part than wear and tear on the body, running more miles per game. I think that's the stuff that hurts most, that takes guys off the floor more than anything. I do like I'll go back. I'll watch 90s ball. I'll watch 80s ball. Like the movement in the half court is totally different now. Because, they would dump it into the post. They would stand around and watch. Much more. It's totally different. And you can argue whatever you like more, but I think that is what's more physical. Actually making more explosive movements per game is what's happening now.
That's actually interesting. That's a good point.
Glad I got one in.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess people look more so on the impact on when they look at the highlights and they look at, well, the 90s, 80s were so physical because the bad boys and the New York Knicks and all that shit used to knock you out in the air. So I think, like I said, I think the 2000s was the most physical era.
I agree with that. Well,
because those games were ending like with 75, 72 points. Like you had real power forwards, you had real centers, you had hand checking, all that stuff played a part. Like nowadays, shit, everything's a foul. So that's just my opinion.
I think there's a difference though between more physical and what is more detrimental to the body that leads to injuries. And I think running more leads to more injuries. Like whether or not guys, are banging with each other. Look, there's still hand checking that happens all the time. People don't realize that. It's like it's a judgment call. It's how much they let you get away with sometimes. But I agree, there's not as much pushing and shoving, which I'm glad about. I'd rather watch basketball. But I still think it is about the mileage on the puppies and your dogs, and that means your legs. That's what's hurting the game. That's what's keeping players off the court more.
So do you think these guys play defense now then? Because that's essentially what it was.
They run way more. Like I'm watching it right now. The amount of rotations I'm seeing is crazy. Like if you just look at that, don't even look at the end result of the play, if the shot was made or not, just watch like the rotations and how guys are moving around the perimeter. That was not happening before. They have to cover way more ground because of the 3-point shooting.
What about on-ball defense? What about pressuring up full court?
I mean, I think guys, there's less full court press for sure. But part of that is not because guys wouldn't do it. It's because they will call a foul. Okay, remember the first 2 games against Dallas in the playoffs last year? Those were 2 of the more physical games I've ever seen in person in my life.
Yeah.
Dome. I could not believe the stuff they were letting go.
Yeah, especially in game 2.
So sometimes, like in the playoffs, it still gets physical. And even remember, there was that emphasis, or we thought the NBA told the refs to do something to let more contact go, like the last 2 months of last season. And it felt like, and I know fouls were down. It felt like nobody was getting fouls as much, and players were complaining. They were letting more go, and I'm good with that. I was fine with it as long as it's consistent.
Yeah, I didn't think it was consistent in game 2 last year. I thought that's partially why I think that the momentum swung to Dallas early in that series, in that game, because I remember when Zubac was dominant in game 1, and in game 2, they got him out in the first few minutes of that game. I thought that's kind of set the tone for Dallas to kind of, get some confidence.
I can't believe how many people are still in the chat talking here. People talking about this conversation. Someone talking about the caller, Clavon. Did you heard Clavon earlier?
Yeah, I did. I did hear him. Crazy ass.
Dude, I didn't even say anything for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I heard him. I heard him talk. I get them all the time in the chat, like, be like, saying, "Oh, this sucks." I'm like, "Why are you here?" Obviously, it don't suck if you still in the chat.
No, people loved Clavon. They wanted more Clavon, less of me. So I just like kicked my feet up and stopped talking for a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get off here anyway, man. But man, it's been a pleasure as always, man.
I think we made up for lost time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Are you gonna be at the game on Wednesday?
No, I'll be at the Knicks game.
All right.
The Knicks game. I'll see you at the Knicks game.
Where can everybody find you, BJ?
You can find me at the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. The emblem is one guy shooting the basketball and the other guy looking at the camera. So if you guys want to follow me, great insight. Not just with the Clippers, but the NBA. I talk about. Adam's a good friend, so always supportive of his show, and I had to call in, even though it's damn near 2 a.m. Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
See you at the next game.
See you.
Before we get out of here, I do want to remind you guys, Clippers Talk is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or your least favorite player stats. If you want to be a hater, you can still win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money, and I got that free promo code for you guys that will give new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Guys, the promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description down below in this very episode. Underdog Fantasy, make picks, win money. This may have me covered for tomorrow's show because we went from day 148, 148 straight days of Clippers Talk, into day 149 because now it's 1:20 a.m. on the Pacific time. And you guys are wild for staying up this late, listening to the conversation. Toby called in. Multiple people called in. J-Dog. And, of course, Clavon. I'm feeling much better about everything after this talk we had tonight. That concludes my TED Talk. This was wild. We're at 3 hours and 40 minutes. I don't know if I'll ever do a show this long again. I probably will. What the hell am I talking about? So I appreciate you guys. Be good. Love your neighbor. Get some rest. And that was a lot of fun. And maybe we'll take more calls consistently here now at Clippers Talk because this is too fun. Toby, you didn't convince me of shit. I said I'm open to either possibility, but I need more evidence before I start saying Kawhi Leonard can no longer do it. Hopefully on Sunday he can. Clippers need to bounce back. I'm Adam Osland. This has been a Clippers Talk marathon that rolled into Clippers Talk After Dark. I'm going to go home now. Bye.